Hey folks, welcome back to another exciting episode of Loss of Lieutenants. I'm your host Kevin, and on tonight's show I'm joined by fellow hosts
Jacob.
Val.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Smooth.
So smooth, so quick, so good. We're getting good at this at almost 100 episodes in. On this episode, we will be going over the entries in our recent monthly and quarterly challenge and talk about our favourites. And in addition, we'll also be discussing the recent update to Army. But before we get into that, let's recap any recent games and hobbies we've been up to. So, Val, what have you been up to, mate?
So I've not played much Infinity recently. I've been playing a couple of board games and a little bit of Marvel recently. So not too much to report on the Infinity front, unfortunately.
No, you said you've been playing Marvel Crisis Protocol?
Yeah, well, I've got like one friend, and he's doesn't.
The sentence ends there.
That's pretty much it. But I've got one friend who's like really into his Marvel, and he's just been coming over because he lives locally, and we've just been hanging out. And basically, yeah, he's been trying to get me into Marvel. So, it's just a bit of a palate cleanser. Hopefully he doesn't listen to the show, but there's no chance I'm playing Marvel. It's just doesn't have the depth. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have the depth.
Oh, really?
But it's been fun.
I have heard that actually. I have heard it's a very much a beer and pretzels kind of style game.
Can you give a rundown of just like how it works, just mechanically?
Yeah, so one of the things that is basically very objective driven. There's two types of objectives. One you have to stand on, and the other one you have to pick up, and they're randomly generated at the start of every game. And then you kind of do that. The heroes, they all kind of feel unique, but on the other hand, they kind of feel unique. The heroes, they do pretty well with the heroes to make them feel unique and stuff. But yeah, it's mainly about getting objectives rather than kill each other.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think Doug picked it up and he has been asking me to play it, and I am very keen to play it, but I just haven't been playing many games at all, so it's very difficult to actually get into it.
Yeah, well, unlike Val, you have an excuse.
Well, like what? I have a life outside of miniature wargaming.
I was going to say you in Japan, but all right, Jesus Christ.
All right. So, speaking of which, good segue,
Fucking
Jacob.
murder us. Sorry.
Sorry, Val. I don't mean to say that to you as you sit in your one-bed apartment.
My one-bedroom apartment by myself, getting ready to go to bed in my cold bed. Yes, thanks, Kevin.
Good stuff.
Only on the first floor. There's no risk.
might break an ankle. Anyway, moving on from that dark topic. Yeah, I did just go back from Japan on Sunday. So still feeling pretty low from the whole experience. I mean, sorry, not the experience of Japan. Japan was excellent, but when you come back from holiday, you kind of just be like, I wanna not work ever again.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I felt like that just coming back from Easter.
From Easter, yeah, that's true. Val, are you okay now? I'm noticing you're maneuvering the microphone.
Yeah, you guys just have to let me know if it's if I'm coming through okay or not.
I think we'll just grin and bear it at the moment. You're cradling your microphone like a small child or a puppy,
or a second friend.
A second friend.
Jacob, you fucking cunt. That was good. All right. That was quick too.
That sounds okay. Yeah, no, I just got back from Japan. We were in the South Island of Kyushu, my partner and I. So we did a bit of hiking, did a bit of shochu and sake tasting, and just had a great time. Yeah, we hired a car, drove all the way around the island, about 2,500 kilometers we did in 2 weeks, plus a bunch of hiking as well. So yeah, it was a big trip, good trip, excellent times.
And I don't know if this was just someone sort of commenting random on the pictures you posted up, but did you go to the Penis Festival?
No, we didn't go to Penis Festival. We found out about the Penis Festival like 2 days after it happened. So for those who don't follow crypt posting, I posted a thing the other last week, I think it was. There's a festival in Japan called the Steel Phallus, which I thought was hilarious for multiple reasons. One of which being that its similarity in name to the steel phalanx, and it's literally a fertility festival. And they parade giant penises through the town of, I think it's Yokohama or something. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. It wasn't in the same island we were in, but it was happening while we were there. Yeah.
I saw like a little short about it. They got like a shrine with a penis in it and everything.
Yeah. I think there was somebody who commented on my post saying that they call it the steel phallus because it's to protect it from the vagina with teeth, but I didn't really look too much into it.
Oh, that's great.
But
Oh,
I
that's
did
great.
love it. I did love the idea that but no, I did not we did not visit the Steel Phallus Festival.
How long has been going? Because I wonder if there's a new initiative because their birth rate's low.
I don't know.
Well, everyone's
Yeah.
birth rate's right.
I don't know.
Whatever.
There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I went to Japan and we just happened to be in Akihabara when they were doing. It wasn't anything particularly special. They just were parading around the shrines in Akihabara, and they take that shit really seriously. They were going all day. We were leaving at almost 12 to get on the train, and they were having the train man, the train conductor or whatever said something. They all cheered, and apparently what he said was great. And then they went off again. So if you ever get a chance to see one of those shrine festivals, freaking go to it because they go nuts.
Yeah, they're really taking.
Yeah. So Anyway, it was a good trip. Like I said, I drank quite a lot of shochu. Came back with these nice little glasses that were actually a gift to us because we bumped into a guy who was
you drank so much?
well, yeah, a little bit, but also, yeah, we met a guy who was a sales rep for one of the shochu distilleries who spoke pretty good English, so he took us out on the town, and as a thank you, he gave us these lovely glasses. And I'm currently drinking some hot shochu tonight because it's pretty cold here in Melbourne.
It is. It's awful.
Yeah,
nice.
So delicious.
Beautiful.
Other than that, Infinity related, I had a game last night against Dante. I wanted to get a game in before we went to Anzac Cup because I plan to run a double Magariba guard list for it. Not confident about it whatsoever, but I am looking to have a good time, and hopefully I'll have a good time with a couple of Maggies. We were
did you want to go through your most important Infinity news that you've got?
Well, this is. I mean, I'll go through I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm going to continue the thread I was going to go. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will mention that. You're right. Sorry. I was just like, what are you talking about, Jacob? Well, yes, I do know what you're going to talk about. But quickly on that game, we played Slightly Hassified, which is the take on Highly Classified.
Mission have a better name, please?
Yeah, no, we keep saying that. It probably won't. It's because it's one of the missions for the weekend, and I was like, let's make my life even harder. Let's run double Maggie list, and then let's play like Highly Classified with it. It went about as good as expected. I went down 9-5, made a few mistakes. The Maggies were great. They did pretty well against Dante's MO, but he had a Teutonic Knight missile launcher that I just wasn't game enough to take on. I tried, I threw a couple of mines out in front of it, and then walked out to shoot it, and he just dodged on a 17 because Teutons dodge on 17s.
Right.
Rolled a 15 to dodge, which meant that I needed to then crit with one of my HMGs. Didn't crit, and nothing happened. I was like, oh, bummer. Because I thought, this would be quite a good little move, right? Because it'll force you to dodge with this heavy infantry or shoot back and then take 2 mines to the face. And he was like, I'll just dodge with a really high number to force you to crit. And I was like, oh, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah, it's unlucky.
I also ran the grenade launcher Magariba.
It's a good move, though.
So there's 2 different types of Magaribas that people might be aware of. There's the one that most people take, which is the one with Mine Dispenser. I took one of those, but my other one was the one without the Mine Dispenser, but has instead a heavy rocket launcher and a grenade launcher. And I wanted to try that one. It's 3 points more. It doesn't have a heavy flamethrower, so it loses out on its template defense. But a damage 14 grenade launcher BS 14 to me feels like quite a nice little what's the word, Val? Like, what was that happened to you again?
Utility piece?
Yeah, but like more devastating than that. Like it can get you out of jail potentially, right? Because it's got the ability. It's got the ability to spec fire anywhere into outside to 24 on an 8.
That's good.
Which is not a bad number, especially if your opponents bunch stuff up without thinking that I had the ability to actually, threaten stuff. So that's what happened. Managed to land a grenade on his curator, his hacker, and his Knight of Santiago.
Behind that building in the middle?
Yeah, and knocked both of those models out, and then knocked the Santiago down to 1 wound. I was like, that's pretty good. It only cost me 2 orders because the first one I missed, the second one I rolled a 7. But of course, all that was for naught because I didn't then put them all the way to dead. And something about highly classified that I just guess I haven't played in a while is you really have to think about playing the mission. And my mission wasn't to kill things. My mission was to stop him from doing his classified, or stop him from doing the classifieds. And by taking out his engineer to unconscious and taking out his paramedic to unconscious were good. But because he still had another paramedic, he spent his turn 2 reviving his engineer, reviving his Montesa paramedic, and then just going and proceeding to complete 2 more classifieds. So if I had just spent like a few more orders on actually just like taking them all the way to dead, then the game may have gone a better way for me. But of course, that's always easier said than done. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where you're like, he's unconscious. It might take him like several orders to get into position to revive them, and he might not even get it because he's only got a paramedic, not a doctor. But what he did instead was he just stood it up, shot 2 things at the curator, got him back up in one go, moved a little bit more, shot the Montesa, got him up in one go, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that didn't take nearly
Montesa up as well.
That didn't take nearly as many orders as I thought it was going to take, and that kind of unraveled the game for me a little bit. But other than that, fun game. He had an unkillable bulleteer. I think you were there for that, Val. During the game,
that was hilarious.
Where I'd thrown out some more mines from the mine dispenser, thinking, oh, this will slow him down. Of course, one of the cards was test run, and he had a bulleteer, and he was like, like ran through one of the mines. Ran through both mines, and was like, oh yeah, I'll just take both mines to the face. And he passes both armor saves, and he's like, shit. Then he goes and tries to suicide into Carmen, and I think I shoot him, and he passes his armor save, and he's like, God damn it. But yeah, eventually did go down, but it was then got back up by his engineer. So
this is a nice point to kind of remind people of how people used to do test run in N3, where they would just full auto jump up and then let the model fall and take damage and then repair it, because that's what that was possible in N3, and that was pretty fucking 40k gamey bullshit.
It was, it was one of those things that you would only really do with like a remote, because it had a second level of unconscious, so you could
because you kept rolling.
It was a higher chance. Yes, that was it, because the falling damage used to be you took like continuous damage 10 hits or something stupid like that. Depending on how far off the building you fell. But yeah, no, true. And it's one of those things where, like, highly classified, I do like it, but I haven't played it in a while, and remembering that you kind of have to switch your brain into a slightly different gear.
Yeah.
Like in a normal game, you'd be like, I've littered this area with mines. Don't come near here. But in high classified, it's like, ooh, a chance to do a classified. it's it's a little bit different.
It's also one of those good ones where, like, if your opponent alphas you, it's like to their disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
unless they somehow manage to do it in like 3 orders.
And the last thing I'll mention on that mission actually is, because you choose your own classifieds, it does create an interesting little counterplay in the game where I'm trying to think about what classifieds Dante can't accomplish, and he's trying to think about ones I can't accomplish. And 2 of the classifieds that I assumed would be like a straight up, like, he was going to pick, he didn't pick, right?
Yeah.
So like, and the ones that he thought I was going to pick, I didn't pick. So
this is the same argument I was having with Jacob. Jacob's an idiot, because he sent me his TAC list for the weekend.
Not Jacob, but who's on the cast right now. Another Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
No, me.
No, you. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, me.
Yeah, so basically, he sent me his TAC list, and he's like, he's got this war driver which doesn't fit the list at all. I'm like, why are you taking this thing? Like, it just doesn't fit. I'm like, I think this is better. He's like, no, but everyone's gonna play Clear League, whatever fucking classified, and they're all gonna pick hacking cards, and I won't be able to do them. I'm like, no one's gonna think about what your list can do and can't do. They're gonna be focusing on their list, and you should focus on your list. No one's gonna.
Yeah, but hold on. What did I say at the very end of that conversation?
I don't know. I stopped listening because I was ranting.
I said I was preparing to play the Jacobs of this world.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
But I mean,
yeah, I guess
that
okay.
yeah, but it sounds like then people will be thinking about what other people are going to be taking, and
But
you might
well,
still
you
need
and
that war
Dante,
driver.
but you and Dante thought you would be, and neither of you did, right? So
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I
see,
see what you mean. Yeah.
that's
but
what.
hold
Yeah,
on, hold on.
yeah.
You,
The difference is that
There'll be a bottom tail. There'll be
TAC
top.
TAC has a like
single
obvious
hacker.
strong weakness. So this is not Kevin thinking, oh, my opponent might take these objectives. That's Kev
Yeah.
thinking it like he is thinking like sorry, what I'm talking about is someone looking at an Ariadne list and going, well, they suck at hacking, so I'll take the two things that can only be done with hacking because I'm any other faction in the freaking game.
Yeah, but that means they have to have hackers,
And
and
it'll be a lot easier for me to accomplish and near impossible for them.
Yeah.
they have to have hackers. I don't know.
But
I
what you do
personally,
though
but yeah,
then
I get what you're saying.
you get inside that person's head, and then they pick the hacking and forward observer, those ones that generally allow forward observers as well, and then you just take a attack list with a bunch of forward observers and a war driver, and then they're like, oh no, I fucked
Anyway,
up.
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess for everyone listening on the weekend, Jacob is going to have a war driver, so you may as well not bother
Thanks for
picking.
like dropping that on everybody.
You may as well not pick the what's his name, the hacking things against him. Now, Jacob, you can
Actually, no,
change your
that's
list.
good. Yeah, everybody listen
And
to
now,
Val.
and
Don't
now
pick
you
those
can change your list.
objectives. Pick other ones.
That's right. You see, now you can change your list.
Okay. Other than that,
Tell
the only other bit of I guess it's a hobby related. Some quite exciting and fortuitous twist of fate news as well to share. So,
yes.
for those of you who've been listening to the podcast since we started, which I think was sometime in 2018, I can't quite remember. But anyway, I lost my Hack Islam minis about 5 years ago. My very first minis that I bought when I joined the game, badly painted them up because I had never painted anything so small before coming from Games Workshop. And this was July 2018, and I was in the car, and I had my minis in the car. I had shopping in the car. I had actually had like a whole bunch of Warhammer stuff as well because I was coming back from a Kings of War tournament in the south of the city, and it was cold and it was wet and it was rainy, and I had a car accident because I'm an idiot. And in the aftermath of that car accident, the car had to get towed away, and I had to jump into an Uber to get home. And I obviously had to take everything out of my car and put it into the Uber. And it was dark, like I say, it was dark and it was wet, and I was in a hurry and I was a bit flustered because I just smashed my partner's car. And anyway, I realized the next day that I had somehow not put my Hack Islam minis, which were inside this Laser Touch. I don't know if you guys know the Laser Touch or now Knight's Dice case, like strike cases, the sort of rectangular cases with the 3 layers. That wasn't in the house. And I was like, shit, maybe I left it in the Uber. Called the Uber up and they were like, nothing in the car, mate. And I was like, oh shit, I must have left it at the tow place. Went to the tow place. They were like, they never saw it before. Looked around. Anyway, long story short, the minis went missing. I remember posting on Infinity Australia and going, hey, if anyone sees these minis online for sale, please let me know. I think someone might have stolen them. And that was kind of the end of that, actually. Shortly after that, I picked up Starco and then kind of moved on from Hack Islam. I did eventually, over the next 5 years, rebuild my Hack Islam army, but with most of the minis that I had lost, but not entirely. Anyway, jump back. What's it like? 3 weeks ago, I'm at House of War and I'm playing a game with somebody. And at the end of the game, I'm checking my phone as you do, going on Facebook. And I have a message from Nick, our old friend Nick, and he's like, "Kev, are these your minis?" And he's like, sends me a screenshot of a post on Infinity Australia of a guy who has found this box of Hack Islam minis in his, I think it's like his father-in-law's, not his father-in-law.
It's his brother's father-in-law's place.
Yeah, his brother's father-in-law's place. Because he's elderly and he's had to move out of this house, and this brother's come in to clean it. And in the process of cleaning, they found this box, this case, and gone, Oh, I didn't know my father-in-law played miniature war games. And he gave it to his brother, who does play miniature war games, and asked him to identify them. And he then realized they were Infinity related and posted on Infinity Australia. Turns out they were my minis that I lost 5 years ago.
Pretty cool. That's
So
pretty cool.
I got them back yesterday. Went out for a coffee. Went out for lunch with this guy. Caught up. Found out exactly, a
He
bit more of
pay
the
you?
story. I
Pay
paid.
for lunch.
I paid.
Bro.
I paid for lunch. I mean, it wasn't a big lunch. I didn't. I mean, I would have paid for more, but we were just having a coffee and a sandwich.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So I got the minis back, and they're in exactly the same condition as they were 5 years ago. All the
That's...
all the tokens, all the minis, all the dice, the old classified deck. There was a laser cut thingo from CanCon 2018, which is the year that we did the narrative event. So that's in there. It's all there, and I couldn't believe it. It's just one of those things. Like, what are the chances that this box was found in an old guy's shed by a
And then
guy who knows what Infinity is? And
slim.
And more importantly, put it up, not looking to sell them or anything, looking up saying, we found this. It's obviously got like some labor of love to it. Is it anybody's?
Yeah, exactly. And
I tried to start a bidding war, but that didn't work.
Yeah, a few people were like,
I mean,
a few people were like, "Oh no, that stuff's. I don't think anyone's gonna claim that. I'll buy it." Or you should,
yeah.
you should pick up Infinity. You should start playing the game.
Yes, that's straight away. Just trying to convert them.
But yeah,
it needs to be one of those like feel good fucking YouTube videos that you see. You looking downtrodden at the beginning, not having lost your miniatures, and then the very end of the story is somebody posting it up online.
Just this guy walking to me in the street, being like, sorry, sir, is this your case? And I'll be like, no. Like kind of like the dog, like the dog who hasn't seen his like owner because he's been at war for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And it takes the dog, it takes a few seconds to realize that it's him. That was me with the case. Me going, I'm sure this is really mine. It's been like 5 years.
I was there when Nick sent you that message.
Oh,
and we had to convince you that they were your minis.
Yeah. I don't know.
It
was pretty funny. It's a little bit sad that they're in exactly the same condition. That means the old guy who found them didn't play with them. Like, I was hoping he'd like at least do like some army man stuff, be like pew 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 pew, because obviously I don't think the rule book.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have been really careful with it, playing little toy soldiers.
I had sort of assumed if they weren't sold, they were like maybe given to some kid to play as toy soldiers or something like that because they didn't know what it was.
Op shop instead of posting.
Well, yep. He put up his little story from his perspective, and they were given to him. As a gift, as
a jokey Christmas gift, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, because they knew that they were miniatures and they didn't know who the owner was, so the guy gave it to the Matthew, who ended up contacting Infinity Australia, and he was like, right, well, I'm gonna find the owner for this because it's definitely belonged to somebody, and someone's gonna know whose it is.
And, because small community and stuff.
Yeah,
good on him, honestly.
Wholesome, very wholesome.
So yeah, that was great. So now I just need to. So now I have 3 Magriba guards. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, well, because I had one before I lost all my minis, and then I bought another one to replace the one I lost, and then I managed to acquire the OG Magriba, the old Ghost in the Shell one. So I have 3.
Yeah.
But now but they're not AVA 3, and the one I got is not the best. Like the first one I painted is not the best paint job. So, my painting has gotten better in the last 5 years, so that's good, right? I can at least look at my old minis and go, yeah, I've become a better painter. But I will get those. I will bring those out, smash those out at some point in the future. Maybe when I go back to playing Vanilla Hack, because most of them are Vanilla Hack. Right. Anyway, moving on. So news.
What about Jacob?
Oh, sorry, Jacob. My bad. You did something to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the last thing. I've had a couple of games of Infinity. The last one I had was against. He's been name dropped quite a couple of times. Jordan.
Yep. The
I'm
man, the
playing
myth.
his Morats against my TAC. Morats is probably one of the few armies that, like, in general, playing TAC, I'm a little bit more cautious of. They've got a lot of high armor. They're decent in melee. They're sort of, I don't know, almost feel like sort of I won't say a tough attack because they got no camo. So we did a game of Frontline. And it was a pretty close game. There was just I'm very clearly still trying to sort of sort out playing TAC against like in really difficult situations. I don't quite know all of their tools yet. Like in the game we played, I've never really used the Antipode controller to use her for her grenade launcher, her smoke grenade launcher.
Yeah, okay.
But in this game, it was really well worth, like, really well worth using it a lot more. You know, you move your dog's 6, use her to fire a smoke grenade somewhere. So
Yeah.
you sort of get that.
Just the other
You get that ability to sort of like that sort of efficiency. And other than some of the bikes, it's really worth using her for that. I'm glad that I'm sort of confirming a theory that if you have a really difficult situation, the solution is to apply a Spetnaz to it.
Yeah, okay.
As well as reinforcing that I need to remember that the freaking Vet Kazakh has surprise attack. Sorry, not surprise attack. Sixth Sense.
Yes, okay.
So that he can't shoot through smoke, but he can return fire through smoke. So if you've got like a sort of maybe not the greatest ARO piece looking at him, you're going to maybe think twice about shooting back at him or shooting at him, because he's going to be shooting at you, assuming you get no bonuses or Sixth Sense or anything like that, with no... he's going to be firing back with no disadvantages. You're going to have all of the disadvantages.
I've had that situation come up once before where my opponent put their Vet Kazakh into suppressive fire, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just engage it through smoke. And he's like, no, you won't. I'm like, good point. I'll just, surprise attack it. No, you won't. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I have to engage this thing. I have to, now I have to outrange this thing to get it out. So it's quite a useful skill sometimes.
Yeah, so it was a good match. Like I said, his armor was good. Like really nice sort of 3 Harris Morat list. Which, having played TAC for a while and probably going into playing Bakunin afterwards, I'm really digging the sort of running 2 Harrises or like a 3-man core and an actual Harris. I just got to remember my biggest downfall was and on my last turn not being brave enough to shoot the to just take a fight to his heavy rocket launcher MSV1.
And
also not remembering that it had MSV1, so there was no point in putting smoke in its face.
Yeah, gotcha.
At least for my plan, because I wanted to put smoke in the face to sneak across, but obviously there was no point in doing that.
Not so good. Yeah.
Jordan's done really well with them.
They're definitely for the Anzac Cup. I've just got to be like really careful of, like, if I've got a backup plan, I think, and that backup plan is like, if this risky thing doesn't work, I'll do the thing that's more likely to succeed. Just start with the backup plan.
Yeah.
Which is what happened.
Right,
I could have just dropped a Spetnaz right next to his Raicho straight away. But I was like, I'll try and shoot the Raicho for a little bit. And that didn't work out. And I'm like, I should have just dropped the Spetnaz straight away and just
when you say drop the Spetnaz, you're talking about the airborne deployment one, not the camo one.
Yeah.
Obviously.
The airborne deployment one, yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, I mean, backup plan, but also more of a problem solver potentially as well. Rather than you might be able to shoot it, but if you're not confident, then maybe this guy can solve your problem instead.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I got to be braver with TAC.
It's hard. It's hard when you're
I
all
don't
one
think
wound.
they're a. Yeah, I don't think they're an army for the faint of heart. You've got to take the risks.
Yeah, it's a little bit like
Yes.
Shaz, I find as well. Sometimes you just got to do that engagement and hope that you win.
It
Because
works
if you
out.
don't,
yeah.
if you don't
Well,
win, then
like-
you die.
Because
I
that's
like
what
your-
I found out when I asked Jordan just to sort of run the simulation, like just me rolling dice. Is if I had just walked my vet Kazakh up and fought his HRL, I would have killed it, and then I could have won.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's I like the dog warrior, the antipode thing. You're right. So there's no point here just sitting there. If you want to get maximum efficiency, you want her throwing smoke, and you're obviously making her vulnerable. But that's fine, whatever. If you lose the antipode, you lose the antipode.
I mean, it's a smoke grenade, so you just fire it from a safe spot and let it spread
Yeah.
out.
That means you have to think about where you're deploying her when you start.
Yeah, I gotta put her in a more
cool.
useful spot from now on instead of like in the back of the map, not doing anything.
Yeah, true.
Val, we better not be losing you already. We're only half an hour through, so you better wake the fuck
No,
up.
I'm good. Whoa, what's going on?
It's just must just be the normal way you talk. Then sorry, it's just the way you're coming through.
Might be.
And it just
Right.
looks like it just that because your camera is slightly misted up. It looks like you just kind of just come out the shower. You know, your hair's like, you know, it's because your camera's a potato.
Yeah, my
That's why it
camera's a
looks.
piece of shit.
Yeah,
I think
your
about
camera's a
it.
potato. It just looks like you're just out the shower and it's all kind of steamy in the house. and- yeah,
That's right, Val.
I'm
Wipe
still
the
here, I'm
lens.
still
That'll get you more pixels.
yeah.
I'm still here.
All right,
coffee for me.
let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
So news and announcements. So we have a little bit. I'm gonna do this in reverse order because from the way we've written it down here, guys. So first of all, we have the Adepticon seminar. That was obviously out a little while ago now, or a couple of weeks ago probably. We won't spend too long on it because I think most people have absorbed information from it, but there are some exciting releases coming up. So first of all is Ensong, the new book that's going to come out at Gen Con that is going to advance the story of Infinity. I can't remember if there's much more information given to it other than that. But alongside that, they have also talked about the Navy, Combined Army Navy is going to play a part in this sort of upcoming future. And they've started talking about how the Navy is the extra. So whether or not that means the extra are returning to Infinity or not, we don't know. But that's quite exciting news.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very cool. They're the ones that made me play Combine initially.
Yeah, so the kind of for those of you who don't know Extra, they're the kind of the really bug looking stuff that hasn't been in production for a while. If ever you've seen the old Combined Army remotes, they're kind of maybe sort of the aesthetic that we're thinking of here.
They're almost close if you've ever seen the old Gaki and Pretters.
Yeah, it's true.
They sort of got like a.
Definitely more alien-like, but at the same time, the aesthetic will probably change if they.
Or like I suppose everyone's seen the what's the tag bug thing?
Cascuda.
Yeah.
There's also the Void Operator and Vector Operator. If you want to Google those, for anybody who's only just joined the game, if you Google up Void Operator and Vector Operator for Infinity the game, you'll see these old school bug models, and you might get a bit of an insight into how the new guys might look.
Yeah, so that's sort of, we don't know whether they're going to be.
Oh, hang on.
Actual.
Sorry. Just before you continue, Val, I can hear myself through your microphone.
Now?
I don't know. It was only happening when Jacob was talking.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway,
there you go.
Yeah, so we don't know much
the
about
Patreons can tell us how the sound's coming in. Actually, they've done nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Patreons, how's the sound?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll move on.
Yeah,
so, in addition to that, they've also talked about the reinforcements rule that's going to apply around about Gen Con. Whether or not it's going to be like an ITS thing or if it's going to be a baked-in rule into the game, we have no idea. There's lots of speculation out there as to what reinforcements means, whether it's like a lifting of the 15 order cap, whether it's extras becoming permanent in the game, whether it's fucking don't know, like you can take allies. Literally have no idea what's going on with that, but it does sound like there's going to be a huge shake-up in the game come Gen Con, which is August. Actually, the same weekend as BCB, so that'll all drop at BCB, which will be fun. Oops. But we'll see
I
how it
mean,
goes.
to be honest, that's been the theme of BCB since its inception, is being around right when some sort of rule change comes out.
I wonder if they'll do a video for us, a seminar video.
I mean, we can just probably copy the Gen Con one. I will reach out to CB in the coming weeks actually to ask them about satellite status for BCB as well. Acheron's Fall, which may be a term that we've heard before because we had the book about the Acheron Gate. So that was during the Third Offensive. There was the whole push through the Acheron Gate. I think the Acheron Gate. Was it the Acheron Gate that was part of the gate that shut the TOE off from the human sphere?
That was the Daedalus Gate.
That was a Daedalus Gate, yeah, right. Okay, so this is Acheron.
Acheron is the one where, I don't know if you guys... I remember Boster was on a podcast, and might have been White Noise, but he said he got in a lot of trouble for mentioning Acheron Falls once, just like it's slip of the tongue. And then all the forums went off, and they're like, Acheron Falls, and everyone's speculating. And then Gutierre apparently gave him a lot of stick for that slip up.
Okay.
Does that ring a bell?
Yes, no, absolutely. Because I remember them talking about Acheron's Fall before Daedalus's Fall came out,
and I think this is like
so. I think this is before Daedalus's Fall, and then I remember Bostria calling it Acheron's Fall, and then the book came out as Daedalus Fall. So then we were like, oh, it must have been a slip of the tongue from Bostria. He must have just gotten the wrong name, but maybe he was actually in the back, just getting smacked up by Goodyear.
Imagine if that slip of the tongue meant that they had to flip the timeline. They're like, oh, we're gonna have Daedalus Falls when ages ago. Acheron's gonna be next time. We have to flip it so people fucking forget.
Yeah. So Acheron's Fall is going to be a probable or a space fleet. Well, it is going to be a space fleet game. Maybe similar to Battlefleet Gothic, perhaps.
I remember the one I was trying to think of, Drop Fleet Commander.
Right. Yes, Drop Fleet Commander.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah. That would be cool. By all accounts, it's going to be made by the same people. I should have looked this up before. I think it was Ramper Design, the people who are doing the Rem Racer game. I think this is going to be by the same people, but feel free to correct me in the chat. I don't believe it's a in-house CB game. It'll be a straight to retail box set game that'll come out.
It'll be interesting to see. I wonder if it'll be almost, if it goes well, whether it'll be almost something like the Star Wars Armada or X-Wing, depending on the flavor of Star Wars. Space game.
There isn't a space game that's doing very well at the moment. Like, there's no Firestorm Armada. I played for a little while. That was the only space game I've ever been involved in.
Isn't the Star Wars one doing pretty well?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's going to play it, honestly. I feel like there's all these other games companies that come out with these little offshoot games, and nobody really plays them, and they're just there to make some money. So I don't know how this game will go. I don't think I've got enough time to play another game. If it's something more like Rem Racer, that can be played in 30 minutes, then I could probably see me playing that. But if it's going to be more of a strategy battle game, then I've got enough board games as it is.
Exactly.
We'll see. And then lastly, we just have some, I don't have any pictures of this because I'm too lazy, but we also have some renders and some reveals that were released during Adepticon that everyone's seen by now, but it'd be nice, I guess, just to get our opinions on it. The first and most important of those is the new Crazy Koalas. What do you guys think?
Good. Cute. Absolutely. And the change of design.
I mean, cute and demented and a lot bigger by the looks of things than their counterparts. I guess more probably actually S1. I feel like the original Crazy Koalas are probably like S.5. But no, they're cool. It was funny during the Adepticon seminar. At the beginning of the seminar, they were saying, please, if you see something you like, clap. If you see something else, do something. I can't remember what it was, but the last one was, it was something like, I can't remember what it was now. Damn, but it was fuck. I had this whole thing set up and I just forgotten what it was. It was like, It was
There you go.
do
You want,
something
Kev?
else, huh?
If you want, I just got them up for you.
Photos.
Oh, really? Where?
Stream.
The stream on the stream.
On the stream?
Yep.
Oh, I can't see that on the stream.
So you just press watch stream, fumbly hands,
Where? Watch stream?
live show.
No, I've just got
See-
share. I've just got share your stream. Share your screen. I don't have stream.
If you press on live show on the left,
I'm just on the I'm on the I can't do that. It doesn't matter.
that's it. No stress.
But what I'm asking about is they called out the fact that they didn't release new crazy koalas with the new Morans. And they basically at the start of the seminar said essentially like it's fuck, I can't remember what they said exactly.
Like a hostile reaction.
It was kind of like a hostile reaction, but it was basically them kind of admitting that they should have released the new crazy koalas with the new Morans,
Yeah.
but they didn't. And when the reaction was from the community, like, where the fuck are the new crazy koalas? They were like, oh,
Yeah.
we should probably make those. So they've gone to release them with the new Hulang and the new Oyuroi, which it's like a little bit bittersweet for the people who were just waiting for the new Morans for fucking ever and had to like sit with the same old crappy looking crazy koalas. So that was just something I picked up on and found quite hilarious.
Well, it's just to ensure sales of that Hulang, which nobody uses. So perfect.
Well,
It's
I guess
very-
so. Yeah.
Very cool.
Speaking of which, there's also the new Oyuroi, which looks pretty schmicko.
Oh,
They
that
use-
big old Gundam samurai looking thing.
Yeah, we can see it on the stream. What's his name? Yeah, he looks good. I missed the Evangelion style of the first one because I'm a weeb, but no, it's very good.
I mean, look, the main thing is I'm just glad that my Japanese tag doesn't look pregnant anymore.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I figured out how to do the watch stream now because I'm on a separate screen, so it wasn't coming up.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, no, it's definitely way chunkier, way more Oni like, way more like a demon, which I quite like. So that's cool. I'm into that. We also had the new Steel Phalanx characters that we've got some artwork for, which are pretty sweet as well.
We've got Machion.
Yeah. Machion. The Makai.
Akmon and the Makai, yeah.
Or the Makal, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maki. Yeah.
I'm sure they've done. They've posted like painted for photos of these as well. So
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's seen them. Yeah,
They're somewhere in there. I just can't be bothered with the score.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else who played Steel Phalanx into them, but the personality that is coming through for Machion and Akmon, I find is just far less than their old models. I liked Akmon with his like funky helmet, his two pistols.
Yeah, right.
And then I think Machion almost always reminded me of the Doctor from Team Fortress 2 in his old model.
Yeah,
because he like looked like he was almost like snapping surgical glove.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know what you mean.
And this one is just like he's just a dude.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he'll look pretty cool. He looks pretty cool though. But yeah, I get
the other thing, and we'll sort of come to this later. I don't know why they've given him a puffer jacket and they've given Phoenix what looks like a lab coat. I don't know why they've done that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a render for Phoenix, though, do we? We just got the artwork.
We just did the artwork, yeah.
Yeah, but looks pretty dope. He looks, Big Daddy Phoenix. Look at him. It's just he's so huge. He's just such a big dude with a tiny little head.
Which is good because considering how important he is to like your Steel Phalanx list. Oh, there's Bostria. It's nice to see him beefed up. We also got art of Bostria again. New Ajax.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Ajax.
He looks the same as he always has, but apparently we're getting a new one of him.
Very.
Yeah,
beefy.
I really like the old model. The old model was fucking mad.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm really hoping they don't make him the pose that they had on like the really big models.
Oh
that
yeah.
they brought out with him sort of like hunched over with two hands on the hammer.
Oh, I love that one. With that.
Yeah, I like that one
as well.
personally. Yeah.
I like the
screaming.
dynamic look of him with the hammer up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But each his own.
Good one. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
All right, other
All right.
releases.
And then
Yeah.
lastly, it was we've got the new Sarco models have come out. So they've just been dropped in Army. We're talking about them tonight, and we've also got models for them. They're fine. They're like little spacemen, but we also got patchers, which is more important. Stick with that. So we've got the Ariadne and patchers, who look like they shouldn't be fitting on a 25mm base, but they
Or I
are.
kind of don't when you look at the renders.
Yeah, Jesus
Yes.
Christ, they're fucking huge. Look at them.
They look
Juggernauts.
really cool.
That's it. I would almost like this
No.
is almost what I wanted the Cosmos Soldats to look like. They look awesome.
Yeah, that's
Nah,
that's
they look
fair
shit.
enough. These guys look pretty. They are. That is very Juggernaut bitch vibes coming off this.
They're
these
trash.
models. They're trash. You don't like
They're
them?
too close to Space Marines. Nah.
What?
I
Or
mean,
huge.
Space Marines are you talking about?
at the most,
Look at the round
at the
shoulders and
most,
the pose on the right one.
at the most they look like
Uh,
the Starcraft Marines.
Oh, that's what it might be.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not,
yeah,
not,
okay.
not
No,
Space
they do
Marines.
look cool. I'm just trying to be
Yeah. No.
anti-GW.
They
look good. They look great.
Yeah, I'm down for those. And I suppose the
Yeah,
other
they're really cool.
boring thing not boring thing, but we also did get
Oh, the new Datarazzi.
the witch soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Who are
They'll
cool.
be good. They'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they
And
look.
finally something with a melee weapon in Morats that actually likes to use melee weapons.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
It's very
and
true, right?
After all the new heroes and new models that we got for Steel Phalanx, that's Austria. We just got that for the booster pack for
Yeah,
Hackislam.
for Hackislam.
that's cool.
Yeah, just the seed and. I mean, sweet. You now have a place where you can buy the HRL for seeds, but you have to also have to buy a Hortlak Janissary and the crushed crab of the Asawira Spitfire. Speaking of which, the models I got back the other day contain the older Asawira Spitfire in there, so I'm really happy about that.
The skinny female one.
Yeah, with the
cool.
with the Spitfire up, and I've also
Bring
got the
that
one.
back.
I've also got the one with the crossed arms, like the one with
That
the
one's
the one that's like going like that.
Yeah, I've got that one too. So I'm like, yes. Back.
So jealous. I might have to start playing models.
I might have to start playing Assassins. Yeah.
Just to make people jealous when you slap them down on the table.
Yeah, I mean the paint job isn't great though. The paint job isn't the best. Oh yeah, so I'll probably have to keep a move on. Everything else we'll probably be talking about tonight.
I'll bring them up when we talk about them later.
Cool. Close that stream. There we go. Oh right.
Okay.
Moving on. Right. Okay. We're gonna breeze through some upcoming events. So we have a new event. We have a couple of new events actually to talk about tonight. The first one is going to be the Melbourne Wargaming Incorporated ITS League. So this is going to kick off on the 1st of May and run for 8 weeks in and around Melbourne and broader Victoria area. I'll be taking care of the running of it. It's a 4-round ITS league taking place over 8 weeks. So the idea is we play 1 round every 2 weeks because people have lives and we have to, give you enough time to play them. 300 points. You can change your list between rounds, but your army is fixed. Missions will be randomly generated at the start of each round. So I have not given you what the rounds are yet. What the missions are yet. You just have to pick your army and then just cop it every round. It's going to be $15 for the league, but you must be a member of Melbourne Wargaming Incorporated to enter. Melbourne membership costs are $10 and will take you until the end of our financial year, which is the 1st of October. So this is basically a way to
gatekeep and contribute to your cult.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So Melbourne Wargaming Incorporated, for those who don't know who are in the Victoria area, is a not-for-profit community-run organization, which its sole purpose is to enable people to run Infinity and other tabletop wargaming events in the area without having to spend their own money. So essentially, everyone pays $10 per year to be part of the club, and then that money goes directly back into running events, buying prize support, buying snacks for events, and that sort of thing. So it's really just for that, and then the rest of the money, and then basically all that money is just used for prizes because it's a league. We don't actually need to hire a venue. You just use your local gaming store or your own house. So that'll give us some money then to give prizes out at the end, which I'm
Mm.
crafting in my head what kind of prizes I'm going to do and how we're going to dish them out. But that'll happen in 8 weeks. So there's an event page on Facebook and on our Victoria Discord server with links to sign up on payment. And the other intention is I have asked you to tell me where you are located in the state so that I can more easily pair you up. So I don't want to be like, for example, asking Tristan, who lives down in Mornington, to play Jordan, who lives in Geelong. Unless, of course, they're happy to do that, but that's like a 2-hour drive for one of the people, unless they want to meet in the middle. And I've also asked you to give me your preferred location for gaming, so I can at least then help with the pairing. So it won't be strictly Swiss pair. It will be more just what is the easiest way for everybody else. But also make it so that if we have players who you haven't played before, we'll also try and pair you up like that too, so that you're not playing the same person that you normally play on a weekly games night.
I'll be located in Geelong from May to July, just to ensure me 4 easy games. So easy done.
Oh, okay. I mean, you're not coming to Anzac this weekend.
No,
Val?
unfortunately not. No.
So not enough of that smack talk.
That's true.
Okay, so after that we've got Anzac Cup. Anzac Cup's this weekend. We've talked about it extensively. I think we're up to like 20 people for the weekend. So I believe there's still some spots available. So it is on the 15th, 16th of April at the Australian Defence Force Academy gym. 4 rounds, so 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. First round begins at 12, so it allows for travel and setting up tables. 2 custom missions in there, one of which is highly classified. The other one is the sensor field. Tickets are $25, and there is a sign up to the event on Facebook or on the Australia Discord page as well. Contact Rob Wright for more information. So I'm really looking forward to this event. It should be really fun, and it'll be good to catch up with the Canberra locals and the Sydney locals too if they make their way down.
Can someone make a meme on like crypt posting where the Melbourne community is like upholding every event? Because like there's 10 of us coming down there, isn't there?
I think there's 7 of us. We've had a couple of we've had Hector's pulled out because he's got a work thing on, and 8 I think 8 right at the moment.
So that's like
half.
I don't know, someone do the math. 40% of the field.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened in like BlizzCon. So like there's definitely gonna be a meme where it's just like the Melbourne community just like holding up every like event.
Victorian Infinity is just Australian Infinity. We're everywhere.
Or you could have it like a
the Spider-Man one.
We're like a plague.
We'll remember what was that? Oh, the pointing.
Meme,
yes,
where they're all
yes.
pointing. They're just like Australian Infinity, Victorian Infinity, Australian Infinity.
Well, that's what will happen though, because we'll go to Anzac and we'll end up bloody well playing each other.
No shit.
But that happened before the pandemic as well in 2019. I think about half a dozen of us went to Perth for South Perth Brawl, and we were like 40% of the players at that too. So.
It wasn't. I don't think it was that bad.
It was maybe 25%.
6 of us out of 30. 6 out of 30.
Out of 30.
The only
right, it was,
interstaters though. Yeah, we're the only interstaters though.
That's right. Okay, third event, we've got Burn City Brawl. So we've got I can't remember, did we update this last time? No, we didn't, did we? So
I think even slowly getting more and more information.
Yes, so we now have more information. We have the mission lineup. So the 5th and 6th of August is Burn City Brawl. It is going to be hopefully, well, maybe the only other satellite event happening in Australia in 2023. So it's a big one. Flemington and Kensington Bowls Club. Cost is now $70 if you purchase before the end of May, when it goes up to $75. We were talking about Melbourne Wargaming Incorporated earlier. If you are a member of MWI, you will get an additional $5 off. So that means $65 if you sign up before the end of May, and $70 if you sign up after that. So, incentivize.
This MWI stuff is like the Scientology of Infinity community at the moment. It's fucking annoying.
I mean, look. We've got like 50 members, and we've got like at least 50 people in Melbourne who play Infinity, and we don't have that many members of MWI. So like, come on, guys, just give us your money so we can put it back in the community.
Give us your money,
line our pockets.
What can go wrong?
So yeah, we got the mission. We got the missions for it. The missions are in order: cryogenics, capture and protect, frontline, supplies, and decapitation. Myself was involved with the picking of these missions, along with fellow TOs Peter and Nick. I think we're pretty, it was like a kind of split decision on all of those, what we were going to do. We wanted them to be different enough from CanCon, and we didn't want to be too tricky, as in we didn't want to have to deal with, we didn't want to deal with Power Pack, we didn't want to have to deal with objective rooms, for example, but we also didn't want to have too many hacking incentivized missions. So as you can see there, none of those 5 missions incentivize bringing hackers. The button pushy ones all incentivize bringing paramedics and doctors. We've got Frontline, which is a zone control mission, Capture and Protect, which is a mobility mission, and Decap, which is a killing mission. So I think on the whole, pretty happy with the lineup.
Of course you would be. Picked it. Decapitation for... No, it actually does. It looks good. Decapitation round 5.
What are your thoughts on
I think
that?
that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking, I guess. I'll come back to you.
I feel like it's almost thematic for, like, especially when you look at the top table at the very end, you just go and kill their lieutenant.
Yeah.
So, like, cutting off your opponent's head.
I would have probably preferred myself to go Capture and Protect on round 5, mostly because it's such a hard mission to get a major on.
Yeah.
So it would really incentivize if you wanted to win, you needed to do well, but it becomes harder because you're also playing another very good player. But I can also see that might lead to weird like final standings potentially.
Yeah,
so
Decap's easy to draw, isn't it? Is it easy to draw?
I thought it was pretty easy.
You have to risk it. Go for it, I guess.
Well, you've just got to kill more army points is the main thing. I mean, because like the HVTs are fairly easy to get, and then after that it's just kill.
Army points.
Well, it's also lieutenants. Yeah. There's lieutenants as well, but it's mostly
lieutenants and army points. Yeah, so there won't be many draws because it'll be you kill more army points and kill the. Yeah, okay. No, interesting. Okay, no, it'll be good. We'll digest. I think I'll unpack that throughout the coming months because we have plenty of time, so we'll move on.
Oh shit! Okay, I should have been checking the Discord because Trent, who's a lovely man, was actually saying during that during me trying to figure out what the hell CB were saying about Adepticon, he was like, if you hear something that might be obviously corporate damage control, cough politely. That's what I was trying to say about the Morans. Anyway.
Okay,
yes,
right.
Corporate damage
Everyone's
control.
Started coughing.
Yes.
And everyone's started coughing. That's hilarious.
That's right.
Nice. Good story, Trent, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Thanks, Trent. And then finally, we have All Systems Go, which is a new 2-day event, which will be taking place on the 23rd and 24th of September 2023. And it's a 2-day ITS event happening in Geelong, hosted by Throw the Dice Richard. Sorry, not Throw the Dice Richard. Richard, who runs the Throw the Dice store down there. So this is really cool. I've already signed up to this, and I'm looking forward to attending.
Yeah, it's So we had one day last time, and we did 400 points, I think. I ran that one, but this one, Richie's running. I think him and Wade are gonna look after this one, which is good. So yeah, I'll definitely be in attendance as well. And they got quadrant control, supremacy, highly classified, countermeasures, and firefight. So it should be good. Yeah.
The cost is $50, and it's happening at the Esplanade. There will be food and drinks available at the bar, and I am told that the bar prices are very cheap. So
very cheap. Like
if that's not a reason to come down, then I don't know what else is. I will be absolutely hitting up the Geelong locals for some ideas on accommodation or a couch to crash on for that weekend.
Perfect.
And it's at the moment it's like a 30-person cap, so get your tickets in there quickly before it all runs out of space. And what we will also mention as well, it is a multi-system event. So there will also be, I believe, like a Warhammer event, a Kings of War event, and
War Machine. I think there's quite a few. Blood Bowl. Yeah, there's heaps.
It's kind of like a bit of a con, right? In a way.
Yeah. That's definitely what they're building it to.
So that's really cool. That's really good to see something like that building its way in Geelong. Geelong's the fastest growing city in Victoria. So It's,
Yeah, Geelong's a great place to live. Yeah, would do it again.
would do it again. All right. Okay. So
Sounds like you will be doing it again soon.
Yeah, I'm burning my bridges every weekend, so I don't know.
wait, you're
No,
wait,
no,
wait,
no.
you're burning your bridges here in Brunswick every weekend.
No,
Just,
in Geelong,
just,
because I
just.
visit Geelong often, and
Oh, right.
I stir the pot.
I thought you were just
So
working your way through the local population here on Tinder and just being like, oh no, I can't go to this bar anymore. No, I can't go to this cafe anymore.
If
It
you
turns into
if you
like
knew
How
how
I Met
close
Your
to the
Mother.
truth you were, Kevin. Oh, Jesus.
It turns into Barney Stilson from How I Met Your Mother. Just every time you mention his name, you get punched by the girl.
All right, okay.
No,
So we'll
don't
get
bring up that
into,
election.
because as we now know, this is the first episode back from the since the last challenge and the last quarterly. So we wanted to take a little bit of time here just to thank and congratulate the challenge winners and talk about some of our favorite entries.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't remember, we'll talk about the March challenge first, which was you only need 10 models, which was basically run a demo game. And we really liked this challenge. I think it was brought up by our local Hugh. It was his idea, and yeah, it was a really popular challenge with some really good entries. So I guess we'll maybe just kind of go a little bit round table and just talk about some of our favorites. Val, did you want to kick it off?
Yeah,
First?
so I noticed where are my notes? Here they are. So yeah, I noticed, so I was looking through all the entries. There's a couple of running themes. Starting with Trent's entry, it was interesting is he had like 3 dot points that he mentioned, and he talked about basically the 3 dot points were reduce mental load, so focus on enjoyment and make it as easy and smooth as possible to just dive in. Let the players pick their list was the second point. So, and I absolutely agree with this. Again, like on one hand, give them agency. On the other hand, get out of that maintenance upkeep aspect of the game as soon as you can and get onto the table. So, and as you play the demo, if their list obviously won't be optimal or whatever, it doesn't really matter for the demo. You as the demoee can kind of play around the list weaknesses to make sure you don't expose them. But the main thing I think he's trying to focus on there, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but just to don't get bogged down in the list building aspect, and just kind of start rolling dice. The third thing that he mentioned is try to take the focus away from the win or lose aspect of it, and try work out little objectives in the game for them to achieve. So be it, I don't know, kill a big model, or I don't know, like just give like sub objectives to do in the game. Well, basically, I guess what he's trying to do is give the player, don't let the whole sense of reward be balanced on whether the new player wins or loses the game, because even if they do win the game, they'll clue on pretty quickly that you let them win the game, so that's not going to be a true sense of achievement, I guess. And yeah, I think these are valid points. I think that's pretty clever.
I like that last point actually about the don't make winning the objective, make having fun the objective.
Yeah, make it having fun, make them like achieve something, or make them figure out a puzzle that you've set them, or
puzzle,
something, right?
yeah.
Yeah, if you
I think that's
can,
good.
right? Yeah,
Because
but you know
because
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna keep ranting on his entry, but no, you jump in because you had something.
Yeah, no, it was just you just sort of sparked something in me, because I was thinking about one of my first games of Infinity was I wanted to use it for day, right? But I'd only played 2 games before this, so I remember Andrew Noakes taking me through how to work it for day, and he kind of showed me how to do it, but in a really cinematic way, which was like, you're going to throw some smoke here, which means this guy's not going to see you, and you're just going to walk in and shoot him in the back.
Yes.
And he's going to die, and then you're going to do it again, and you're going to throw another smoke grenade onto another thing, and you're going to chip this guy in the back, he's going to die. And it's exactly what happened. I was like, fuck yeah! I still lost, but I killed 3 guys with the Fide in my first turn, and I was like, this is why Fides are, like, these are great, these are fucking... And that's kind of what made me pick up Hack Islam.
Yes.
And it was just like learning an interesting mechanic of like smoke and stealth and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the objective. I mean, it was the objective of the game in some ways because it was killing things, but it was just that one bit of it that kind of grabbed me and it was down to him sort of helping me through it.
That's a perfect example. You know why? Because the next point I wanted to make about Trent is one of the things he's done is this is something I did as well, and this is a very hard one to balance. So then the next part of his entry, he outlines a very clear set of goals or lessons you want to achieve in the first game, right? And that's all very well and good and very logical and very efficient from an approach of leveling up a player. However, it's missing the fun enjoyment aspect of it a little bit, or you can lose that fun enjoyment part of it. And I ran into this because I did a demo a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed my opponent was getting the mechanics and learning the mechanics, but he wasn't seeing the beauty of the game. And what your example showed, with what Noakes showed to you, was very, very much the other aspect of it, where he played out the cinematic visualization of what's about to happen and gave you an emotional response and then walked you through the mechanics, right? Because if you focus too much on the mechanics of the game, teaching the mechanics of the game, it's very hard. It can be the beauty of like what's actually happening and the cinematicness and like the problem solving aspect of the game can be lost a little bit. Anyway, that's something I noticed, but that's a really tricky balance to kind of get right, I think. If that makes any sense. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does, and I think we're talking about demo games here as well, and I think this is something that other people touched on. We'll get into a little bit. Is that it is about like keeping their interest in the game as well. It's not about like overloading themselves with rules and interactions and mechanics, because they'll pick that up as they play. But if you're just trying to get somebody's attention and get them to buy into the game, then you really want to be focusing on the fun as much as you can, and because that's what worked for me.
Absolutely, and yeah, the fact that like that was such a perfect example where Noakes is like he played out the vision he visualized it for you, and then when you enacted it, it was more like you could kind of see it happening, even though obviously it was broken up all the roles and mechanics and throwing the smoke and placing the templates and stuff, but you could still then visualize it from start to finish and be like, this special troop did this and killed these 3 dudes, and that's cool, right?
And it was kind of like from a point of view of like Dungeons and Dragons, where like where you want to do something and you sort of do it. Because I was like, I want to kill, just thinking about like I want to kill this thing with this thing, and he's like, all right, well this is a way in which you can do it, and I was like, that sounds like the most fun. Let's do it that way, and it might not be the best way, but it's the funnest way. And
because that demo I did a couple of weeks ago, I was like really clear cut and focused on like teaching the rules, and I got the rules across, but like I could tell, I'm like, hold on, he's not seeing the beauty of the game. There's something. I'm like, I've missed something here. I haven't done demos for a little while. I'm like, I was very like structured and progressive in like how I explained the rules, and like the rules weren't the problem. It was just like there's something like, okay, cool, that was fine, but like that wasn't like, was that fun? That was the question. Yep. And so getting that balance between being really rules focused and educative and like fun. So
cool.
Fun being vague, of course. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I wanted to mention so thanks for that, Trent. It was really good write up, and then anyone else who's wanting to get some ideas on new players getting into the game, then check out Trent's entry on our Discord and Facebook. I want to shout out Kyle Bonderod, who's actually our random winner for the month as well. His mention of the balancing act of playing new players or newer players at tournaments. He kind of honed in on a little bit of the tournaments at the start, which I thought was really interesting, because you will often come up against new players at tournaments, because they just kind of jump both feet in and be like, right, the best way to get better at this game is just to like play 3 games in a day with experienced players and get my head kicked in. But as an experienced player, you want to come into that environment with, you're kind of torn sometimes, because on the one hand, you might want to do well, right, at an event. But on the other hand, you don't want to give this person a bad time. So I really liked his kind of communication with games, communicating with a player to find out what their experience level is. And if they are super new, then you can. There's tools you can employ to make sure that you give this person a good game while still being competitive, I guess. And thankfully, Infinity kind of works that way anyway with the whole intent system, and how you can kind of say to a new player, like, what do you want to do? And I can sort of talk you through how you were going to do it. Because there's nothing worse than having a new player, spend 4 or 5 orders and you kind of go, like, what is this guy trying to do? Like, I don't know. And then realize it was never going to work anyway, but they thought it was going to work. So having that conversation with a player, having that conversation with a player, even in a competitive environment, makes for it makes for an open, honest, and fun experience, which I thought was a really good point.
I think one of the best things I like about Cars is the very last part of his submission, which is the stuff to avoid doing.
Oh, right, yep.
Where he says, don't do things for your players. Similar to what you were saying, Kev. Like, ask what they're doing, make suggestions of, like, if they want to do something, say, okay, this is how you might be able to achieve it. But ultimately, like, make it, like, potentially even overemphasize the fact that you are making a suggestion. Your suggestion is not gospel. If they want to do something else, if they want to try, if they think they have a better idea, then that's
play the
that's
game.
their prerogative.
Don't play the game for the player, because that takes
never take away their
agency.
And never take away their agency, basically.
And always, and sort of goes the same thing, is always remind them of, like, if they're going to do something, and you don't have to say, oh, don't do this because of blah. But let's say they want to, they're walking a mimetism -3 model to try and do a firefight. Go, oh, you're going to walk him to fight him. Don't forget this guy has MSV1.
Remind them of what they've got. This guy's a template weapon.
Yeah.
This guy has mimetism. This guy's MSV, so he'll ignore your smoke if you decide to throw that down. Yeah, which is what I would offer that. I would offer that to even an experienced player, but especially be aware of it in a new player. And actually, you've reminded me of something that happened a little while ago, and I wasn't taking part in the demo game. I was at the table next to someone running a demo game, and
shame.
And I could hear that there was just this sort of, like, the new player didn't sound like they were having not the best time. And what I could sort of understand was it's possible that the person giving the demo wasn't being as helpful as they could be. And an example came up where I kind of overheard this guy starting to complain about, like, the new guys being like, oh, I just don't know how I'm supposed to get rid of this thing. It's just I've got none of the right weapons or nothing like that. And, like, I kind of wander over the table and just have a chat, and I'm like, and I say, like, I sort of like, well, why did you walk out into the open, right? Like, you should be taking that fight in cover. And it was sort of like, I felt bad because I kind of interrupted the thing to sort of say, why did you do that? But ultimately, I was talking to the person who was giving the demo, going, well, why did you, like, did you like inform them that you don't have to kill this thing? Or did you inform them that by getting out of cover, you're actually removing a really solid advantage that you have? Now, if the person giving the demo game gave all the information and the new player still elected to move out of cover, that's fine. But it just sounded to me like that wasn't being communicated because this person was getting frustrated. I'm like, well, in that case, you should be maybe thinking about going another way, or
And I think that's similar to what Carl's is mentioning. Is especially if you know that you're playing a new person, and this is something more outside of a tournament setting. Just never let that new player be lost.
Yeah.
Right. If you can like answer, if they seem like they're lost or something like that, that's when it's time to jump in, be like, hey, let's talk about what you're trying to do.
Like,
right? It means it's a teachable moment. They're less frustrated. They get to enjoy the game more. And it might be that you give them the way to actually succeed at what they want to do. They get the feel good feeling of killing your model or whatever, right? And you get to feel good about the fact of, hey, I've helped him understand that Infinity's fun.
And you get the feel bad of coming third. Take on because you let a new player win.
um,
But anyway, no,
new
actually, you know,
player.
one other thing I noticed between Kyle and Trent is they both outlined ways to build players up, like bring them up to speed. They had a very structured. They both had a outline like a structured approach of how to build a player up from the demo to like the thingo. So it wasn't just like do a demo and then leave them alone. It was like they both kind of had a roadmap,
Yeah,
which is
that's
interesting.
that's good. No, yeah, I did like that structured approach. Like you say, it wasn't just a one
Yeah.
and done. Here's my demo game. I did a demo game. Yay! It was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
then you go on the chats like, I'm a community, I'm a pillar of the community, I've done a demo game, fuck yeah. It's like, it's like,
Um, yeah. The last one I want to talk about briefly is Chris Johnson's hilarious entry where he accidentally brought a 300-point army to play new player's 200-point army and still lost. So congratulations, that is like top level in demo gaming there.
I think Chris brought up a good point. It's like if you know you're like a completely new player, it is worth correcting their work, so to speak, right? Or pointing some things out. But also, if you can, which is what Chris mentions, if you can lose the game and not make it look like you're trying to lose the game, all the more power to you.
Yeah, if you can lose with style, then I think that is important. Yeah, like just to bring context to those who haven't read that entry, it was and like you mentioned, why it is important to sometimes vet a new player's list, even though you're not telling them to what to build. They may bring something that is just not like a good example is when they bring 3 combat groups of 5 guys each. Because they think that's just like how it's done, and you're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Do like a 10 and 5. Don't go like 5-5-5 because then it's gonna be a bad time. But what he did is he said, oh, let's play a 300-point game. So Chris was like, okay, sure, I'll play a 300-point game. Like rammed a tag in his 200-point list. Went to the games night. The guy like deploys his Chris deploys his army first, and then the other guy deploys his army, and he goes, huh. Something's missing from this army, but they played ahead anyway because he was like, oh whatever, I'll just we'll just play. And at the end of the game, he realized that his opponent had built a 200-point list, but it was in army as a 300-point list. So he was just like, it's 300 points, like it says 300 there, even though it's like 200 out of 300.
Out of 300.
It was he didn't know to change the points limit down. So he thought he had a 300-point list when he only had like 194.
194, yeah. So but anyway, yeah, Chris still managed to successfully through the game, and that worked out well. So then we'll talk. If we're all done here, we'll move on to our quarterly challenge entries as well, which was newly classified. Now this is a bit of a big one, so we'll just break it down into what we've so we got. I think we had like 6. I think we had like 6 entries into this, and some really stunning efforts in this one. This was
awesome.
Our we were asking the community to build us a new classified deck, and we had several entries that just came in like 11 out of 10 here. So we're gonna go through some of our favorites. If you don't mind, I'll kick it off here with our first of our favorites, which is from Chris Desans, who made this amazing AI generated deck with all the artwork that was just super cyberpunk and just phenomenal. But not only that, he made a deck called the Mad Sad deck, and it was like 2 lots of I think it was like 10 cards, where one set of cards was the Mad deck, and then the other one was the Sad deck, and the outline of it was you have like one set of cards that is kind of like for when things are going well, and another set of cards for when things are going badly. Is that kind of roughly about right?
Well, yeah, it
was like a classified where you're rewarded for like shit going wrong in your game. So it's like
that's right.
Lose a thing in ARO, or I think there was one is like fail a number of either hacking or
the whip check one.
Whip checks throughout the entire game.
Yeah,
and the other one was like essentially you getting mad. So it's just flat out you fucking up your opponent.
That you make your opponent mad.
I think that one of them was have one model kill 5 other models?
Yes. So there was the ones. Some of my favorites were have you tried turning it off and on again? And that
I
is
think that's the one.
fail at least 3 whip rolls on an objective or classified, which I love because I'm pretty sure there's many people out there who had that exact same experience. Cheerleader tryouts have at least 3 models that haven't moved the entire game.
Yeah.
No, what about this one? Hold on. This is a no smoking area. Fail a smoke grenade roll by
Yeah.
like 1.
Oh
by
yes,
like a
yes.
so, but this is a no smoking.
There's no smoking area.
The
Yeah.
tropes that both decks play on, right? One trope is like when typical things that happen in an Infinity game that infuriate you, and that's the sad deck. And then there's typical things that happen in an Infinity game which infuriate you because it's happening. Your opponent's doing well, right? So the mad deck is like things that would make your opponent rage, and the sad deck is something that make you rage, and you kind of rewards you, or like you achieve those things.
Yeah, there was a specific classified mechanic that I really liked, and I just wanted to call out a bit because I think it actually could work in a serious way. Is he's got one here, he's got 2 here. One of them's called Death Note, and the other one's called Sheer Arrogance. And it's not so much the content, but it's more about the way in which you reveal the card to your opponent, and you nominate an enemy model. So you would say like I think Death Note was something like if you have Death Note, you nominate a model in your opponent's army, and then you reveal the card to them at the start of the turn. And if that model is dead by the end of the game, then you get the card. But if your opponent can keep that model alive, then you don't get that card, kind of thing. So I kind of like the way that you reveal the card to your opponent and say, I've got this card, it's in play for the whole game. If I can achieve it, then it takes away the secrecy of it a little bit, because sometimes the secrecy, you're like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And then the other way was sheer arrogance, and it was something like it was a bit more convoluted, but it was more like
I got it here. I can read it if you want.
Oh yeah.
No, it's
after the deployment phase, reveal this classified objective at the player's first active turn. Remove 5 order tokens from their order pool and place them on this card. These tokens can be removed at any time during the player's active turn to place back into their order pool. The objective: at the end of the game, the player must have at least 3 order tokens remaining on this card. Bonus: at the end of the game, the player must have at least 5 order tokens remaining on this card. This objective gives 1 objective point in addition to the stated objective points for the scenario classified objective, only if the player has less than 10 objective points. So basically, you're daring the opponent to not use their full order pool in turn 1, and then still beat you.
It's the other way. It's you saying, I'm not going to use 5 of my orders for my order pool. So you could potentially, depending on who you're playing, be down 7 orders.
That's so funny. It's like, you know what, Kevin? I don't need 5 orders to beat you.
Yeah, right.
It's so funny.
You could almost be like, you could almost go, because remember, it's after the deployment phase, so you haven't actually used the strategic shit yet. So you could literally go, I'm going to just not have my first turn.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, after deployment phase. Yeah, after deployment phase.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's so funny.
I just think that's really funny, but I do like the idea of revealing a card to your opponent as a way to change up classifieds a little bit. So yeah, that was one of mine. What were you guys? Any favorites?
I really appreciated. Lewis's narrative deck, which is sort of is based a little bit more around the idea of the journalist skill. So it's not just a deck itself; it also contains sort of, I suppose, almost like an ITS kind of rule. Where you can add war cores for no cost, war drivers and rem races get the journalist skill. You lose points, I think, if you kill a journalist.
Yes, there was something like that in there as well. A specific classified about it. Yes.
Well, no, so that's a general rule, but there's a classified. Right. If you get media, classified called media blackout, whereas the only one where you're allowed to assassinate a journalist.
Yeah.
So it's a good sort of mix of sort of things you've kind of seen before as far as requirements goes. But again, and this is what I was playing with when I sort of made my deck, which when I finish, I'll put out for everyone as well, where the requirements are things like, have a character, be a line trooper,
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah,
couple of obviously NA ones, like there's a combat jump one or hidden deployment. And there are some that require the journalist skill.
which which is a really good pickup by Lewis because it is a skill that exists. It's literally on the war core, journalist level 1 or something like that, and it does fuck all. It
Cool.
has nothing. It's not even in the wiki, but it's there on Army.
So we
Can't
can't
click on
ignore it without getting mad at it.
Yeah. Like it would be nice to have it in an ITS season or in the game in some ways, other than just a 3-point flash pulse. I think that would be quite interesting.
I think while we're talking low,
I mean, even its old use of giving you an additional +3 for interacting with HVTs or civilians, just put that back in the game. It'd be nice to see that again.
What were you gonna say, Val?
Well, the thing is, basically, what Lewis did is so remember a couple of ITS seasons ago, CB tried to incorporate the journalist aspect of the war cores and stuff like that into the ITS season.
Yeah, it was ITS season 10, XenoTech.
Yeah, something like that. But they didn't do a very good job. Lewis basically has gone and done a much better job than CB did, incorporating the idea of journalists being on the battlefield.
Yes.
But he's incorporated it through the classifiers that he's made, and I think he's done a pretty good job. Yeah, I think it's good. And it's very narrative. It gives it much more narrative and ties it in much better than CB did, which is a big compliment to Lewis because I hold CB very highly.
You do. We all know that.
The only other thing I'll say, just going back to Chris, I have to run an event with Chris's Mad Sad deck. I think it's so fucking funny.
I think we should do that. I think we should definitely challenge ourselves to run an event and just everyone has these cards. I'll print them out myself.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
Give them away.
It's really funny. Really, really funny. If any, like, were we going to put on the Discord, I suspect? Yes. If we haven't already?
Well, I mean, they're already up there on Discord and on our Facebook, the links to all of the entries.
Yeah. Check them out. They're really, really funny. They're really, really funny. Good laugh.
Yeah, really, really good.
What was it?
Did you have one? Did you have one that you want to talk about, Val?
Yeah. So I'll go in order of what I wrote it. So Cameron Rivet has been forced to play AOS in Newcastle, the poor bastard. So if there's any Newcastle and has some Infinity minis, please hit Cameron up for a game because the poor bastard's playing AOS because the Infinity scene's a bit quiet at the moment. But basically what Cameron's done is taken some ideas from Age of Sigmar and how they use their secondary objectives and just kind of incorporate into classifieds. But basically, I think what happens is you kind of pick 3 or 4 classifieds before the game starts, and then you kind of flip them, from my understanding, during the turn, and you try to achieve them in that turn. Or you draw them. I think you shuffle the deck, and then you draw them, and then as they come out, you have that one turn to achieve them. So I guess in Infinity, maybe you take 3 classifieds, right? 3 classifieds that you want, you shuffle them, and then turn 1, you flip the top one. You top deck the top one, and then you've got that turn to achieve it if you can, which is kind of a bit of an interesting mechanic. It's also in theme with other people's suggestions where a lot of people are kind of going for that. You choose your own objectives, right? So you kind of hand pick objectives, classifieds rather than objectives. Sorry, I keep using the wrong terminology. You hand pick your classifieds. I'm not a fan of that, but it's something that's quite a common theme in a lot of these entries. Giving you a way to hand pick classifieds.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of sort of doing it. The idea of you get a turn to do your classified. The one thing I'm going to just go back quickly to the game I had against Jordan. The one thing I liked about it is it was a really objective based game. There wasn't that much punching each other. So it'd be nice to sort of have a way of encouraging a lot less fighting, a lot more sort of objective dueling.
Well,
Yeah.
that has been one of the complaints about like recent ITS seasons and even N4 is some people think that it is more killing based. So having an incentive to do more objectives might be a good good thing for the game.
Yeah, a little bit of a balancer. Yeah, a bit of a
Mm.
balancer. But there's definitely, I don't know, there's a lot of the entries kind of go for the I guess they kind of try and give you some agency around the classified objectives that you bring.
Yes, yeah, I've noticed
Which
that, and I quite
I'm
like
not
the idea of that.
not for me.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, but a lot of people are for it, so I guess I'm in the minority.
And
I just think I don't know, I
yeah,
think it just makes balancing the game harder. That's all.
I think if you can't pick with your ones you want to do, you could go for what Jordan. Well, he didn't really suggest it necessarily, but he did make note of it and into putting your classifieds into categories, like clearly defined categories. Like he used the word wet work, support, psyops. So and then if you categorize them in that way, then before the start of the game, you can actually just choose to I'm going to draw randomly from the wet work deck or the support deck or the psyops deck. And then that kind of means it's still random. But if you're playing Ariadna, you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to go for the psyops deck. I'm going to go for the wet work deck or the support deck instead. And like play into your strengths, but still have a random element there where you don't, it's less of a feels bad, I guess.
Yeah, and still the same deck, right? It's the same communal deck that everyone uses, and so you know what all the cards are in there.
Yes.
So that if they're going for wet work or support or whatever, then kind of know what cards they can actually get.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
it narrows that what they could be going for. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So there's like advantages, disadvantages there. The other thing you could also use those keywords for is I guess if CB wanted to adopt that into their classified deck, then
when if you're listening, we have ideas for the next ITS.
So then when they design their missions, right, then the missions can have specific classifieds give extra points. So, for example, I don't know, decapitation, the wet work, any wet work objective cards will give you extra classified point, or maybe you can only draw from the wet work key label for this mission or something like that. So have it maybe tie in. I'm not really sure, but there's something there.
There's little things you can do there. Like I think you had a suggestion, Val, I think it was, or Jacob, I think it was like, so like if you're playing Unmasking, which has got the hacking extra, like the hacking bonus, then make the classifieds that you have to pick be from not the hacking classifieds. So it kind of maybe balances that out perhaps. So if you
right. So
so it kind of broadens that, or do something like that, just to kind of, it gives you an ability to tweak it a little bit, or change it. You know how like every season they change the way this mission's scored. Well, every season they could change which classifieds you can use in a certain mission.
Yeah, so for example, I guess what you're saying is was Mind Wipe or whatever is like highly hacking based. So then wet work is like a classified deck which is mainly killing based. So that way by pairing those two together, it forces the players to kind of round out their list a little bit more, because to be able to achieve the objectives, they have to have good melee characters and good killing units. Whilst to achieve the scenario, they have to have hackers, more likely lean towards hackers. So it's kind of like a pull in two opposite directions. So that's nice.
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's mostly about just trying not to shut when it comes to playing a mission like Frontline that has 4 classifieds in it, just not having to draw 2 classifieds that you can't do. Just to me,
that's the other thing.
Because of the virtue of the army you've chosen. Like that's kind of what I don't like. Like, I think the army should be rounded, right? And if you haven't brought an engineer and you draw an engineer classified, then okay, that's fine. That's on you. But if you are also just playing a faction that literally hasn't got those,
just got one engineer, right?
Or the old War Driver example for something like that. It just kind of like people are just kind of go, oh fuck, or the D charges, right? Like we play looting and sabotage, and people are like, well, I'm playing NCA who has exactly 1 D charge on their engineer. It just kind of sucks to be you to play that mission. Yeah. So I guess to remove some of those those larger variables from the game would be nice, but obviously not take out that completely random element, which I think is good. So yep.
not go too far the other way where you're doing faction specific or whatever, where then
Yeah,
all
that
of a
does
sudden
get
it's like
hard.
makes balancing. That one
That
goes
does get difficult to
balancing.
balance, and then you have to start remembering what faction classifieds there are, and then it becomes a bit of a memory game, which I agree I don't like.
Yep. Lastly, we'll just quickly mention Kyle. Kyle's entry mentioned an additional thing that you deploy. So you deploy the HVT as well as like a crate. So you deploy two things, so HVT and a crate, the two things you have to deploy.
Like a supply
And
box?
then a supply box rather.
Yeah.
And then basically this allows the opponent to either decharge the supply box or secure the HVT. I guess the difference is if you decharge, and obviously it gives you another thing to create classifieds around, right? Instead of having classifieds all centered around the HVT, they can vary between the supply box and the HVT. So it gives you a bit of room there from a design aspect. But from like, I guess, a secondary objective, like, instead of secure HVT, you can destroy the crate with a decharge or something. So the difference is that a secure HVT happens at the end of the game, whilst if you go and decharge the crate, that's like something you can do during the game and lock that point in, sort of thing, where you can't be
It's
denied.
an interesting idea where probably one of the things that would be most fun to change is to have something other than secure HVT.
Yeah, like secure HVT or secure supply box or something like that.
Yeah.
Or both, right? Like you say, have two. Have the supply box and the HVT, because I quite like being able to place the HVT, and like trying to put it in a place that is going to be tricky for my opponent. But
it's important.
But often I just kind of put it down and be like, that's a 16-inch line. I don't know. But having the supply box as well, I don't know. Yeah, it might add some interesting parts to the game. Yeah.
Well, it gives, I guess, from a design aspect, I think it gives another dimension. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I'm actually all for having objectives that you can move around, that that are placed by you, not by the game that you're playing. So I'm all for more of those too. Yeah, I like that one as well.
That was good.
So congratulations to Lewis, who was a random winner. So he won a box set of his choice, and I believe he has gone for the Long as his box set. Long really good units, really ugly models.
I think Kyle was our other winner who grabbed the male
Yan.
1-1.
Yeah, and actually I just posted out tonight to you, mate. So hopefully you will see it in the next 2 to 3 weeks. All right. So with those out of the way, we have new challenges.
Chris Dresden got nothing. I just want to be very clear.
He got nothing.
But you got nothing, buddy.
Actually, he might get a Lost Lieutenant patch. If he sends us his email address, I can send it out to him, because it was exceptional. So well done. Anyway, new challenges for this.
He's in Geelong, so I can give it to him next time.
Is he? All right. In that case, I'll give it to you, or if you've already got one, give it to him.
Yeah, I think I have one.
All right. April challenge for April. The monthly challenge for April is called The Good Old Days. So for the month of April, we want our listeners to jump in their time machines back to the debatable good old days of ITS seasons past and play an older mission. Pick from any of the official missions of the past, be they from ITS seasons or past global campaigns. That will, so any of those ones from Electric Boogaloo and the other one, Craggy Crisis and things like that. For all you newer players,
I'm impressed if you can find the bloody PDFs.
Yeah, they seem to remove them off the website. They used to all be there. All the old ones used to be there, but I will have to find them. So yeah, basically that's what it is. Just play an older mission from a previous. It can even be from like just season 13, right? Because they do change them, right? Missions do get dropped, get added. Safe area, right? Safe areas was a staple for a long time. It's no longer in there. We have had a few people ask us how they access these old missions. Well, lucky for you, there's an app called Comlog you can download from the Google Play Store or Apple Store, and it has all the missions back as far as season 10.
As well as Asteroid Blues and something else.
Asteroid Blues as well, some of those global campaign missions. So you have quite the variety to go back to. I know myself, I really want to go back and try Hunting Party, because I think with the new way that Isolation and Immobilize works in this new edition, I think Hunting Party will actually work really well. So I'm keen to try that one mission out at some point in the future. And of course, classics like Tic-Tac-Toe.
I also want to go back and play like Frostbite.
Frostbite's still in the season.
Is it?
Yeah.
And
we were debating putting it into BCB actually, but it has 9 objectives or 7 objectives, and I was like, oh fuck, I can't be bothered.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's been how long that's been since I've actually seen the damn mission.
Can I just say that I thought this challenge idea was fucking shit, but I have to eat humble pie, because there's been a lot of people have been pretty excited in the chat. I'm like, who'd want to play an old mission? I'm like, there's no tournaments with old missions. There's no point. And then it turns out people play this game for fun rather than just practice. So what
people
the fuck
do play old? I mean, on Hunting Party.
Well done.
On Hunting Party, I was a
That's
big
my idea.
thank you, Jacob. 100%. I was advocating to add Hunting Party into BCB this year, but I got shut down by the other 2 TOs, which I was pretty sad about. It got replaced by Decapitation, so which is probably fair enough, because we haven't play tested it yet, so I had no idea if it would actually be good or not.
Yeah. And any of the sort of older players who played the XenoTech, torture your new friends. Play XenoTech.
Just ignore all missions from season 10.
Yeah, go back to even the point where the XenoTech had Whip 11.
No, don't go that far back.
We played through it. They have to play through it as well. These fuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bad. All right, and then we also have our Q2 hobby challenge, which is also mission related, and it is called Mission Received. Are you also bored of the current mission lineup? Want to flex those creative muscles and design a new mission to torture the LoL crew? Well, this is your chance. So for the second quarter of 2023, we want you to design us some new missions. So similar to designing us some new classifieds, we want you to give us some custom missions. We talked about custom missions in the last episode. It was really good chat. We had some really good feedback from it. With lots of people talking about their own custom mission that they've made for their friends. And I'm like, fucking send it in to us. We'll play test it. We'll play test the hell out of it. And
we can commit right now, live on air, to running an event at the end of that hobby challenge with the top 3 missions.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
so we'll run if anything, if not a full tournament, we'll do like a round robin with us.
Full tournament.
So it's
we'll just do like a Sunday night, Sunday at House of War, 3 missions from the event. So it'll be just before BCB, effectively. Oh no, when will this?
It'll be end of April, May, June. So July. It'll be. It might have to be. It may have to be after BCB, because it might be hard for me to run an event that isn't going to be BCB focused a month out from BCB. But we'll try. We'll definitely give it a go. And similar,
we'll just change 3 BCB missions to this. There you go. You heard it here first.
Just last minute change. Yeah. You know what? I would be up for that. I would be 100% down for doing that, but I don't think the other 2 TOs would be as open to that idea.
That's fine.
And actually on the classified front, similar, I will be running, I do intend to run an event with the Mad Sad, yes, but also just like with some of these other classifieds that we've had. Not run an event, not run an event necessarily, but I will play some games with the new classified deck, because I want to try out some of the ideas that we received.
Yeah, so we might sort of make a conglomerate of what we like.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly it. So as always, for both of these challenges, send it in to us at lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. As a Google Doc, if you can send it as a PDF, but just make sure that it's like a downloadable link that I can just save to the internet. I don't want it something that I have to download and then resave. You know what I mean? Just attach it in a sensible way. That'll be great.
And we would like to hear, especially with the new missions, how playtesting went with them.
Like entries close June 30, and then we can just run the tournament 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, sounds good.
The day.
Right. I was about to cut to a break, But I did actually remember that we had forgotten one tiny little bit of information that we should have shared at the start of the show. So
Fucking
yeah. So uh, for those of you who catch up on our socials, we did receive the new plastic Marut in IR.
Oh, right, of course.
Ooh, yes.
Yes, that we were really excited about, and we shared some pictures on our socials. But we also gave the miniatures to Jacob to have a bit of review of, who went through the effort and made himself a video. And yeah, the video was great. But I figured, just for those of you who haven't seen the video yet, it is on our YouTube, on our socials. You can catch up with it there. But Jacob, did you want to just fill the listeners in on your thoughts on the new material, the new what's it called? Not Siocast,
Plastic
it's the other one.
resin.
The new plastic resin from this new
Yeah.
company that CB are looking at using.
Yeah, I mean, check out the video to hear me gush about it, but it's sort of what you expect. It's less rubbery, it's less bendy than the Siocast. But on the flip side, it does feel like it's a little bit more brittle than the Siocast would be. So, you know, the same sort of care goes into the metal models, but the main takeaway from it is from what I saw, super clean, super detailed. It's definitely everything that we wanted out of Siocast. It's very easy to work with. If you've ever sort of filed metal, when you file this, it sort of just turns into like a powder. So it's very clean, very easy to do. You can run your knife along it. You don't get any of like the Siocast fluffy bits for it. So if this has to be the way forward for Infinity, um, I'm super happy about it. The only thing is, I suppose, is you got to sort of learn that sort of patience with the hot water to unbend things like a sword or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. From what I saw, that video is the quality is definitely there, and the cleaning up process, which was a big complaint from Siocast, doesn't exist on this new material. From what I can,
It feels like almost identical to metal. In
right.
fact, if anything, it's easier than metal because, like, if there was to be a mold line, you'd be able to get rid of it way easier than you can on metal because you can just run your knife over it.
And what about putting the models together?
Yeah, so they stick. The good thing is they're light, so they stick together really well. I just use a cheap Bunnings
Regular
super glue.
Yep.
You put it together, it sticks well, it holds together. It doesn't like dry or anything on it super fast. So if you fuck up, there's plenty of time to pull it off and that sort of thing. Yeah, no, it's great. The root is lovely. Don't get me wrong, but the most impressive thing is what that IR looks like.
Yeah, okay. Female, yeah.
Yeah, because that's like the first.
I mean,
that's
sure.
like the first kind of like mini that they've kind of sent out to people. That's S2 with that much detail. Like we have had the Fiddler's Jackbots, I think were the Siocast, and they were like S1,
Yeah.
but they're pretty simple designs. This is a way more complicated design, and it just is so crisp and clean and beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really good.
The one thing I was concerned about was that the Marut had like this little flash in between. It's like in its elbow, in between the gun, which you see sometimes in metal models. On metal models, you just sort of poke at it and it falls straight off.
Yeah.
There is a little bit more effort with the plastic resin. You do sort of have to cut it away a little bit, but we're talking, you know, if the effort to get rid of the metal is 1, we're talking about like 1.5. It's not that much harder.
Yeah. No, but all in all, 10 out of 10 material from you then. Yeah, really excited to see more of those and definitely excited to get my hands on more of those miniatures. All right. Well, gents, let's go for a quick break and then we'll jump into our army changes.
Perfect.
All right. And we're back, folks, after that short break to discuss the recent update to Army, mostly with the inclusion and update to the Bakunin jurisdictional command, as well as some other nice little things that we'll get to talking about. But first of all, we're going to talk about all the lovely changes that happened to Nomads and Bakunin. You will notice we will probably be talking about more things that happened to Bakunin than Nomads, which is a nice little thing to way that CB's gone. But first cab off the rank that is going to be in Nomads, or that is in Nomads and in Bakunin, the stigmata of the observance. And as you just, and anyone watching along at home will notice that when you select it in army, it comes up as stigmaton or stigmaton. So anyway, all right, we did now. As a bit of a preface, we will just say we did discuss some of these profiles on the last episode when we just had them the screenshots from CB. Some of these have changed a little bit, but so we're just going to go through them again with the added. Oh, sorry, yeah, with Val here, because Val was a little bit unhappy with my hot takes in the last episode, so we'll get more rounded takes off of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Who wants to kick off with this one?
I'll go for it. So we spoke about this mostly on the last episode. The main thing we've got now is that we've got a confirmation of what hacking device it has. To all these people that I made really hopeful by saying it could be a killer hacking device. It's not.
No.
It's a normal hacking device. Upgrade Carbonite +2 damage, which is nice. Whatever. I mean, if it was +1 burst, I'd probably be happier with it. But other than that, I don't think there's any change.
No.
To it. For the most part, I think while I did say the killer hacking device, I think most people were of the mind that it was going to just be a normal hacking device.
Yeah, I think so, and you're right. And there's not been any real changes to it since the last time we spoke about it. So, Val, what are your takes on it now that's in army?
I think this thing's fucking awesome. It's obviously a very unique tag. It's very powerful through a repeater network. In the sense that gives you dominance in the repeater network, because if they're hacking back, they're copying the repeater wall and the ECM hacking -3. You've got 3 structure, you got 6 BTS, so like getting rid of it. So when you put down your pitches, I think you're going to have a threat through them through this tag, unless your opponent fully commits their whole turn to try and like brain blast this fucking thing. And plus, if they're going through your repeater, I doubt it's just going to be they're only fighting that tag. Yeah. There'll be other hackers.
Yeah, that's true.
If they want to throw pitches, it's still a bit of a shit fight for them, because again, BTS 6 ECM hacking -3, just and you're hacking back the whole time, and like with their team.
It's a weirdly survival, like it's a weirdly sort of tough but also very vulnerable tag. Given the fact that it's it obviously it can be Trinitied. We talked about this before. But yeah, you're right. If you either throw a repeater or you put down fairy dust, it's going to be -6 to hack the damn thing, and it's going to be, depending on how you look at it, it's going to be an extra BTS against hacking, or you're going to be 3 damage less.
Yeah, exactly right. The other thing it does. Sorry.
I was just going to say the fact that you can stack ECM hacker -3 on top of a firewall just to make it -6 to hit. And then obviously the +3 BTS from the firewall does make it very survivable against hacking attacks.
Yeah, and 3 structure, right? 3 structure is nothing. The other thing you can do though is, if you notice, it's got an ECM weapon and CC20. So if it ever does get another tag,
yes. Oh yeah.
You can turn up the other tag and then move towards it, and they can reset, and then you can CC, or you can flame throw them with +1 burst, or you can just fork the arrows however the fuck you want. It's pretty cool. It's just a unique pace, and I think
I think right now it's too early to say. I think time will tell whether this profile works or not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
because we used to seeing like 4-5 burst tags. I suppose
it doesn't play like a tag. Essentially, this thing isn't a tag. That's what it is. Because it doesn't have the guns of a tag. It doesn't have the armor of a tag. It's just a really tough hacker.
The one interesting thing though is this the only tag that has an impact template? I know there's a couple of like grenade launcher ones.
No, because
Nah,
there's
heavy
things
rocket
with
launcher. There's quite a few.
Maggie's got a heavy rocket launcher.
Yeah,
There's
Right,
another
okay,
one that's got
yeah,
heavy
fair
rocket.
enough.
There's
Yeah.
something
Fair
else that's got heavy rocket launchers. There's a few that got heavy rocket launchers.
Yeah,
But what I want to say on this couple of things I want to say. First of all, is in vanilla Nomads, this thing is actually 2 SWC and 58 points, so it gets the half an SWC discount in Bakunin.
yeah.
Yeah, like you say, time will tell whether or not we'll see it on the table much. It's just paying a lot for a utility piece, really.
Yeah.
It does have that ability to. It doesn't have much bully capability. It does have the ability to defend itself from some traditional anti-tag attacks. So, for example, it can hack back, so it can protect itself in that way, and it can defend itself from warbands and whatnot because it's got CC20 with an EM-CC weapon, so it's actually quite good in CC.
And the heavy flamethrower.
And a heavy flamethrower, so it won't just fall over from being attacked by like something that's reasonable on CC. It'll still lose most likely, but it will give pause to somebody who's like looking to run a Fide into it or something like that, for example.
The one thing I do want to point out, especially with this tag, is for a hacking tag, I feel like that whip 13 is gonna hurt it because a good hacker coming along with whip 15.
Yeah, it's just fine. It has the advantage where it is supported by extremely good hackers in the faction. It's not going to be your only hacking. It's a bit of a hacking anchor in some ways. You know, like in some ways how you build a list that might have 2 Fusilier hackers in it, just because they're not that much more expensive than a regular Fusilier and they give you some spotlight potential. Or using the Nomad example, probably moderators, for example. You could have this guy who kind of does that same thing where it's like you gotta respect it because it's a hacker that's really hard to get rid of. If it hits you with carbonite, it'll probably turn you off, and you can't just like casually walk up and shiv it. So it's one of those things that does make it interesting, but also I don't know, tricky to use. I think
I feel like it's almost going to be one of those things where a lot of players, like depending on your army, are going to fall into the trap of sinking a lot of orders to try and kill this thing in like its weird vulnerable areas of hacking. But it is quite tough. It's going to take a lot to get rid of in like from hacking attacks.
Yeah, but its biggest vulnerability is shooting. It sucks at shooting, and that's the easiest way to kill it.
Yeah, that's it. Which is like what takes me back to that weird way in which it's going to be used, because it's not, because is it just going to sit in your DZ just being like a hacker? Like what's it? You know, it's a lot of points to just sit back and do and just support your hacking network, because if you push it forward, someone's just gonna be like, all right, cool, I'll shoot you. It's BS-13 with a heavy rocket launcher, whatever, you know.
I can see this thing being really dominant in unmasking. It's quick, runs forward, hits the button, right? It can very easily run across the map, hit all of the buttons, go and flamethrower something, and then run back.
Yeah,
I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility for this thing to do.
You know what? Actually, that's something that I've just thought of now. I believe this is the very first specialist tag.
Without
it getting the pilot out,
yeah. This is a tag that is a native specialist, so it's natively going to go up and push buttons. Which that in itself is actually really good, having a super durable specialist.
Shit. I had somebody good at this game just fucking like listen to this podcast and be like, they haven't mentioned the biggest strength of this tag till like they just stumble upon it like idiots. That's funny.
All right. Do we want to move on?
Yeah, Demonist.
All right. Apparently this profile has erupted on the forums and online.
What do you mean?
Where has it erupted? Very angry Nomad players and non-Nomad players who don't believe this unit should exist. I mean, honestly, I haven't really been following it. It was the very first sort of thing I heard, and I was like, what the fuck? Are people just dumb? Yeah, so the Demonist. We didn't talk about this on the last episode, did we? Because it had no profile, as far as I'm aware.
No, we did. The controversy, or maybe not.
I can't remember now.
Anyway.
We'll talk about it now. Yeah. So, I'll talk about what the controversy is. is that people don't believe that Nomad should get a good LT.
Wow.
People believe that Nomads should have to just suck shit with their two moderator decoy lieutenants, and they don't believe that they should that they should have a lieutenant that is like good, basically. And I would argue and say that this isn't actually that good a lieutenant. It's 36 points. It's 36 points for a model that sits in your DZ and does nothing except contribute 2 orders to your NCOs, which are either the Gator or the Moira. It's fine. Like, it's like counterintelligence, whoop-de-whoop. You get that in the Puppet Master for less points. So
for 14 points.
yeah, and like, are you really like 36 points is as much as put it this way, as a Hack Islam player, this is as many points as Saladin. And I'll tell you now, not many people take Saladin. Like, not saying that Saladin's bad. Saladin is fantastic, but he's 36 points for a model that does fuck all.
Yeah.
Other than give you like Strategos, right? This lady does nothing except give you +1 lieutenant order and counterintelligence. Now you can make and say, oh, but she's got guard. Yeah, fucking whoop-de-whoop. Like, it sits in your DZ. Like, it's only gonna matter if someone attacks her, which no one necessarily is gonna do. That's my take on it anyway.
And the thing is because it doesn't have camo, that decoy will disappear as soon as it has to make a single roll.
Yes. Oh,
right.
Shit.
So it's not like a camouflage decoy.
It's just a decoy.
You have to spend extra like orders discovering and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which now, and more to the point, right? If you have this on table, it opens you up for like really, really simple LT assassination. Just don't shoot it with a shotgun. You don't have to deal with the guard.
It's not that simple. It's 2 wounds. It can defend itself.
It can defend itself, but the problem I have with it is it isn't right because
I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's balanced by the fact that if you are outside of 8 inches of this thing, you're going to you're not going to have to deal with like discovering the decoy. It just disappears. And like hell, you have a chain rifle and you hit it at the limits of your chain rifle.
13.
Well, it's just an example. I'm saying it's fine. It dodges, but if it fails that dodge, it takes a wound. It's only armor 3. That's not that high. It's not like it's armor 5.
It's not winning any BS attacks because it's BS 13.
Yeah,
like BS 11.
The points I wanted to make about it are that it is a good way to break Nomad players broadly out of just running 2 moderators. Right? It gives players an option because let's face it, they didn't have one before. Like, when was the last time you saw a vanilla Nomads player run something other than 2 moderators as their decoy lieutenant?
Yeah.
I can't think of the last time I saw that because people don't take the Kriza because there's no chain of command. People don't take Kusanagi because there's no chain of command. And then I don't think there's any other LT that really springs to mind. A Wildcat, but you only take that if you're playing Corregidor.
The only one I can think of is you take one of the hackers that can like one of the killers.
Sure, of course. Interventors, sure, right. Now the other thing about this unit is it is S4, so you're like, oh, it's got decoy, cool. Well, good luck placing another S4 within 8 inches of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, I didn't actually think about that. The fact that you have to find space close in for 2 S4s.
2 S4s. Sure, they can both go prone. That's fine, but it starts to hamper where you can place it. You can't just place it anywhere. I mean, to be fair, you can obviously just place it and then just don't give a fuck about the decoy.
You can be putting on a roof as well, right? You can be putting a roof, and then if you want to get some value out of it and activate a late game, you have to climb it down from the roof, and then goes the 2 orders, right? So it's like, meh.
Yeah, like for its points, 36 points compared to 2 moderators, it's 16 points, 16 more points for the same number of orders.
Mm.
You're getting 3 orders out of 2 moderators. You're getting 3 orders out of this lady. The only advantage is you are gaining
Slot.
fuel. You're gaining combat slot. That's a good point. You are gaining fuel for something like a gator. And you're also meaning you don't have to then take a puppet master to gain counterintelligence because you're gaining this in one package in a single order. So what I like about this edition from a CB design perspective is it just opens up some design avenues for players who, so that they, rather than taking 2 moderators and a puppet master, they're taking this lady and she does the job of all 3 of those. So from that point of view, I really like it. But I think it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the only other thing is that it gives counterintelligence to Bakunin where they don't actually have it anywhere else.
In Bakunin, you're right. Yeah, I'm talking vanilla nomads, but you're dead right.
And
yes.
it actually sort of fills a similar role as the Puppet Master in Tunguska, where you've got a faction that has relatively expensive models kind of across the board. Bakunin has that less, but you can argue that's why Tunguska's counterintelligence source is cheaper, and this one's more expensive.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Moving on next to Mother Healer Agatha Wabara.
I mean, she looks like she's about to mug you with that giant hammer.
Yeah, so we were pretty down on her on the last episode because she was overcosted as shit. But
they the problems we had with them.
They have fixed the problem, so clearly they must listen to us. So they've dropped her points down from, I think it was like 41 points down to 39 for the breaker combi, and they gave her no winning cap. Thank fuck.
With shock immune.
Yes, with shock immune. So yep, I take it all back. She's now pretty good. She's still expensive, but she's in a sweet spot now. I think she's definitely worth taking.
If you, and we will do it in a second. If you compare it to the healer, with all the sort of martial art prowess she gets, with the I don't know about the +1 burst, but with the martial art prowess she gets and the toughness that she brings, you could look at her and look at a healer and go, there will be cases where you have 5 points left over or 6 points left over, and you go, I'll just upgrade a healer to Mother Agatha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she does just do a lot bit more than a healer. If you're gonna run an aggressive Harris, she becomes quite formidable. The Vulcan shotgun's really great. Breaker combi becomes on a BS13 model with min -6 is pretty excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah,
she's way better than a healer. Like way better.
Yeah, she is way better.
She's more expensive, but you're
right. It depends what you want. It depends what you want out of her, though. I think that's my point. Is like sometimes you just want a healer, rather than Wabara. But I think Wabara will probably win out in most instances.
I do like the fact that her breaker combi rifle profile also comes with a pulsar, so it's there to punish things with low BTS. Like Ariadna, watch out. She will come and just be like, everything's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next up, we've got Robin Hook. So, I mean, I don't know much more we can say about her. They have clarified the fact that her +3 is on her BS for the tactical bow, because last episode we weren't sure if it meant +3 to her BS or +3 to her damage. I'm not sure if I like the fact that it's +3 to her BS, because it's still a damage 11 tactical bow.
Where's she getting +3? There, +3 BS.
Yeah.
So she's good with a bow.
Yeah, but
with the rifle.
There's no but there's no it's +3 to 8 inches, so she's hitting on 14s, assuming good range but cover. But then it's like take a damage 11 double action hit. Oh no.
And it's only one shot, isn't it?
It's only burst 1, whereas her heavy pistol is burst 3, damage 14. Okay,
it's a cute profile.
She remains a weird combination of skills that I'm not necessarily sure what the fuck you're supposed to do with her.
Yeah,
better than Dart.
Like she's not even a cheap addition to, if you really wanted to meme it up, a Chax long arm thing. Chaxes are still about the same cost.
Hey, Val, you're awfully muffled. I'm not sure if you're just.
Oh, am I muffled?
A little
Am I
bit
muffled?
muffled, yeah. Maybe because that microphone's not in front of your face. I don't know.
I think it's because I was doing this. I think my hands were blocking it. Yeah, I think it should be
Probably.
better now.
Yeah, you are better now.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I'm looking at the profile. It's strange.
It's strange.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's just I don't get it. I don't get like
He's a repeater.
yeah, she's a
He's a
repeater.
repeater.
Yeah,
That's cool as fuck.
that
yeah, but we'll take a look later at something that's if you want a repeater that's up on the field, there's a better choice.
She's
Yeah.
cool as fuck. No, she's got a repeater. She's got super jump. She's got ECM hacker -3, so your hacker is gonna keep her safe from their hackers, unless they use a pitcher. Total immunity, climbing plus, pistol +1 burst, rifle. Yeah, I know. I think it's good. I think there'll be better players than us that will get value out of her. Him.
Maybe.
I-
Him, it, them. It's the them.
Next month's challenge, use Robin Hood and tell us what.
Yeah,
I think what we said about her last week is the same thing we'll say about her this time. Is that if they were just a specialist operative, I would be down on this profile. I would be very much into this profile. Currently, I'm not.
It would make sense. Is at the very least.
Yeah, it would be an option. 23 points for a specialist that's sort of semi-midfield and semi-durable. Yeah, sure. All right, next up we have, this is a quick one. Moderators, they've been given a boarding shotgun. Yay, I guess. They'll never get a model for that, but sure, that's great.
Admittedly, I had a bit of FOMO. I actually got the moderator box. The old rifle pitcher model looks like it kind of has a shotgun, but yeah,
it does give the moderators a template weapon, which I will say is good. But how often are they going to be taken? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, next up, Reverend Moira's. So they have had a bit of a glow up and a point reduction, or sorry, mostly just a point reduction, right?
Yes, they basically got frenzy.
Yeah, they got given frenzy and therefore a point reduction. I don't have much to say about these girls. They're still fine. Like in isolation, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same complaint almost sort of as always is the fact that they're right. It's nice that they are they're decent shots. They've got the min -6. So in some sort of core or whatever, they're fine.
There's a nice synergy here with all the Moiras and the Demonist, so that they can utilize the NCO or the extra orders. That is good, and that is clearly a design choice by CB to like, hey, take the Moiras. There's new models, and they have NCO. Ooh.
Yeah, and you don't even have to run them in the Harris, right? You can just have like 2 floating Moiras, and then all of a sudden they're getting the 2 free orders from the Demonist or whatever. So you have like a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, but I think you'd always want to run them in a linked team to cancel out the frenzy when they inevitably go thingy. The thing is, though, I was gonna say about them is they
lost their hacker.
They did lose their hacker, which is I guess is fine because I guess you've got the custodier, but I did like the old Moira hacker. It was a nice little option.
I mean, the Custodia does really like outshine the Moiras, even for the extra points, because extra whip and better device and that sort of thing. What the addition of Frenzy sort of indicates is you're never, and I mean, you never were anyway, but you're never going to really see the Moiras outside of Bakunin. Because that Frenzy, like taking them out of having cover, it's not really an option. They need the extra armor. They need the extra -6. They have to be as survivable as possible.
Paying 30 points for a BS12 HMG is, even with the mimetism -6, it's like.
What I see them as is they are there to.
What were you saying, Val?
You've got like.
No, sorry, Jacob, finish your point, then I'll make mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Is if you take, let's say, 2 Harrises, so 3-man core and a Harris, you pop a Moira in each of those links, and they're there so you can put that NCO order into like whichever fire team is in the best position to do whatever you need them to do.
Right.
I think for
okay.
I think for the most part, you're going to see
that one.
the specialist operative, or you're
Mhm.
going to see the EM grenade launcher.
Oh,
Mm.
instead of the HM. Oh yeah. Okay. What? So.
Oh
what
yeah,
was
you sorry, yeah, sorry, all the HMG, one of these
Yeah.
heavy
Okay.
ones.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say the specialist operative for 25 points is a fucking steal.
Yeah. I can see
The-
I can see them like handing us the shaking the carrot in front of us by going, take the lieutenant specialist operative. It's only
for
23
2 less
points. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
Like I will give them that. That is super cheap. But
It's
also
so
no.
cheap.
but also no. Sorry.
No, you bastards.
uh,
it's
right. Next up, we got the healers.
Yeah, the problem with the specialists comes with the fact that you got to have the healers and the custodians.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I don't think there's been much change on
They don't
these
have
ladies.
NCO, so with the demonologist, these don't synergize as well.
True, but you still have one.
No,
Moira.
I'm just talking about like the specialists because you run these girls that can heal things.
Yeah. So
That sort of
as we
stuff.
compared them to Agatha before, you pay like what, maybe 5 more points. You said, right, for Agatha over a
Yeah,
healer.
if I think if we go from lowest to lowest, it's 5 more points.
Okay. Yep.
And highest to highest, it's 4 more points.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. For 4 points, why wouldn't you? Because you lose the shock immunity, NWI, martial arts, the actually good CC weapon. Yeah.
I'll flip back to her for a second.
Yeah, it's actually kind of You're right. You're right, Val. I
Yeah.
take it back. It's fucking no point.
Yeah. Woo!
Does the healer get Doctor +3? Doesn't even get Doctor +3.
Oh no, they don't.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Oh,
All right.
yeah, fair enough.
Why fucking bother?
And she's a better shot as well because she's BS13.
Yeah, she's BS13. That's
All right.
the
Okay. So they listened to us too much. They didn't.
Yeah.
They made Agatha better, but didn't change healers. Okay. Well, not much more to say on these ladies. I don't see them taking them ever.
We should point out, compared to before this update completely, I think they got the extra burst on the medkit. Is one thing that they got, but they also used to be mimetism -3. Now they are mimetism -6.
Yeah, I mean it's handy, but didn't they also used to have explosive CC weapons? Now they got shock.
Well, they did. Yes, they did. They've actually. I think they've actually got an increase in their close combat. I think they used to be 20.
Right. Okay.
Now they're 22.
Yeah.
But you're never gonna do that other than like a fluke roll where. I think that's maybe why they've almost given shock, is the idea of some combat specialist comes in, rolls low, and you go bam and kill them.
Well, you could do that with explosive CC weapon too.
True.
All right. Custodiers. I mean, yeah, still pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think the main thing is they got just a normal hacking device.
Because they never used to have a normal hacking device.
Yeah, I think they just had hacking device pluses.
And it was the Moiras that had the normal hacking device with the. I think they used to have the Carbonite +1 burst as well, so I can see why they've just basically put that profile into Custodiers instead. Yeah. So yeah, that's nice. That sort of ties them up into the hacking. This is the hacking nuns. You've got you've got the killer hacker there, which is nice.
Yeah.
The lieutenant hacking device plus. Yeah.
Like I was saying, whip 14. So
that's nice.
Good. Yeah, good hacker
with BTS
really
3 as
hacker.
well.
They're cocksuckers. Look at what they did. He gave the Custodia with +1 burst Carbonite the normal hacking device, whilst the rest have hacking device plus. So you have to make a choice between white noise or Carbonite +1 burst.
That's the whole point.
Yep.
The motherfuckers.
Yeah, for like pretty much the same points as well. So it's I'd probably still be going for the hacking device plus, so that you can get the white noise. It's a tool, but I like the killer hacking device as well. It's the cheapest of the lot, and gives you a specialist. Yeah,
and you can go cyber mask.
Just super quickly, did they always have stealth?
No, maybe.
As far as I'm aware, they did, but I don't know. I don't follow it that closely.
I happen to have the old like N3 app, and they didn't have stealth back then.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe not.
So maybe they got stealth, which is great, which means you can walk them through
Repeater nets.
repeater nets and not actually set anything off.
Andy.
That's right.
Okay, so then we got
Good.
we have an oldie but still a baddie. Sin Eater Observance. I was expecting big changes from these guys. I was expecting something that would make me go but I've been kind of gone, oh, it's fine.
What do you mean it's fine? It's really good.
It's this okay. We'll jump to the standout profile is the marksmanship multi-sniper rifle. I mean, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, sure, it's good. Like BS13 hitting on 16s pretty much all the time. Outside of mimetism, is definitely a reason to take them. I don't know if it would be enough to take them, but yeah.
So
It's a decent ARO piece. I just feel like it's a little bit clunky what they've done here. They've rather than try to make the profile more appealing, they've just said, here's one profile that you'll take, but you'll ignore the other three.
Yeah. Okay, I'll agree with you on that part. I think yeah, they've really just made one profile viable and the rest stayed mediocre.
Yes.
I agree with that, but that one profile is dirty.
It is dirty. I just don't like the fact that they've kind of not given any love to the other profiles.
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing is that the fact that it's the only way that you can't outrange this guy. The only way you can really beat him is outburst or getting close,
or smoke him.
Yeah, sorry,
smoke him with MSV. Done.
The thing is that's what I was thinking. As I think they probably should have given them 6 cents so that you couldn't do that.
Oh, that would be pretty rotten, actually.
That'd be too strong. It's like a one man.
But to the other point would you rather just have because you get 2 orders, a reaction zone and a salute zone with Evo Hacker?
Well, that's always been the argument with these guys. Is that why would you take a Sin Eater when you can just take a TR bot? That's and CB have answered that question by going, well, here's a multi sniper rifle marksmanship, and then people are like, yeah, okay, yep, I can see that, but the other 3 profiles are still like meh. So
this has mimetism and has BS13, whilst that the other thing has.
Yeah, I know. Look, this is not a new argument. It's not a new conversation. It's been a conversation happening. It's just that they haven't changed their conversation. CB haven't done anything different. They've just added a profile to entice you to take that one profile. Yeah. But I was hoping that they might break out the neurosynetics, like give them a non-neurosynetics profile, so you could actually use the HMG actively, or something like that. Make it like the Sunduck butt, where you've got one profile that's non-neurosynetics and the other one is, exactly. And then you're like, oh well, I'll take them, but I might not use the neurosynetics one, and at least then you're at least using it. I just don't see you using it at the moment, except for that one profile. Now, what's something to bear in mind is this is the Bakunin profile we're looking at, which gets the additional discount of 0.5 SWC on their multi-sniper rifles. You do not get that discount on vanilla Nomads.
Yeah.
So
you don't even get the profile in vanilla Nomads.
Oh yeah, you're right. You don't even get the marksmanship profile in vanilla Nomads. So this is another example of CB leaning into
faction
specific stuff.
Exactly, which I appreciate. I like. It's not giving all of because like in days of yore, anytime a sectoral got modded or added, vanilla became more powerful. And this is not so much the case this time, which I am enjoying to see.
Yeah, I'm not so much about it. I mean, I understand with units, but I definitely like it when it's profiles. Like the idea that the idea like Bakunin will give the rest of Nomads, you can have our shitty seniors.
Yeah,
we're
keeping the better ones
to ourselves.
We're keeping the only one you're going to take.
Right. Yeah, we don't like men in the first place, but we'll keep the really good ones.
Speaking of changed profiles, Brand Castro is up next, and he's had quite the change as well. So he's now 6'2", He's now NWI. He's lost his double action CC weapon in favor of shock, and he's lost climbing plus. And he's also had a little bit of a weapon change where he used to have, I think, a combi rifle emitter, and now he's just got a breaker combi rifle. And I think I'm not sure what his price difference was. I think it's a couple of points, maybe. Maybe he's like maybe he's high 20s, maybe he's low 30s or something.
No, he's dropped a couple of points again, like 4 or 5, something like that.
Oh, so he was more expensive before.
Yeah, so again, looking at the old app, the breaker combi rifle. So the combi rifle emitter used to be 37 points.
Wow.
If that came over to N4, then he's dropped 4. Boarding shotgun has dropped 1 point.
Oh, sorry. So you're saying from N3 he was 37 points.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, right.
Yeah, well, that's the only reference I've got. Unfortunately, I don't have.
I see. I gotcha. Right. Okay, because I was thinking that's a lot.
I'm pretty sure when I looked, he dropped a little bit.
Maybe a point. It doesn't really matter what he was. I guess it's what he is. Would you guys use him? I don't really see value in him.
I see value in him. I really like him. Liked him before the change. I like him just as much now. He has lost his bite a bit. He's losing the double action CC weapon is going to hurt. I'm not quite sure why CB felt like they should do that. But he has gained durability, right? He's got shock immunity with NWI, so he's now able to. He can now over infiltrate. He can jump 6 inches, remain in camo state. And now with the way that super jump works, he can basically jump 8 inches onto a rooftop and then then next order walk into CC and lay down 2 templates on you, and he might survive.
That's the one thing that we like semi forgot to mention is that he's changed from 4-4 to 6-2.
6-2, yeah. So he's now so now I don't see him using his CC as much. Martial arts level 2. With Fizz 13 is fine, but I think his ability to over-infiltrate on a 16 and then get almost anywhere and then lay down a template is and say potentially survive, right? Is pretty nice.
I feel like he almost feels a similar spot, even better than similar to like Dart, where he's great for holding back as your one model. When your opponent's deployed, you go, I want to solve the problem of that particular model. Boom, Brando's there to deal with it.
Yeah, I think he is. He's also a specialist as well, so he can do the button pushy. He's mobile enough to get to the buttons, and he can also trade relatively well. Well, so when I say trade, he can fight other skirmishers and survive.
Yeah, I think he's a good skirmisher hunter actually with the shock close combat.
Yeah, this is probably going to upset you, Val, but this profile is what Pavel wish he was.
Hey, no way, Pavel's better than him, 100%. No, shut the. I'm not buying. A bit, but I'm not buying. No, I'm not buying anymore. Nah, that's just.
So overall, I think him losing the DACC weapon in climbing plus is a real pain, is a real shock. I think. I don't know why he lost climbing plus. I don't know why CB felt the need to just give him, because he's monkey. So why does he not have?
I guess plus? From a formula point of view, probably the way they made him cheaper.
That's what I'm thinking. Considering that he's got the extra durability, they obviously looked at some things to get rid of.
I guess so. It's sad. Anyway, moving on.
Kusanagi.
I don't think there's been much change to her. I think
other than from what we talked about. Other than from what we talked about last time, right? Because she has gained the EM grenade launcher from previous editions, right? But yeah, otherwise she's pretty much the same.
+1 SWC. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, she's always had that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I'll be honest. In Bakunin, I've never been able to fill up my points.
No.
And make use of the extra SWC.
I am still really miffed that they didn't give her like the Sheskin treatment. Like, why is she still 4/4 move? Why is she still 1 wound, no wound in cap? Like, make her fucking 2 wounds and give her 6/2 move. Or make her. or make her 1 wound and 1 in cap and give her 6/4 move. Just make
She's
her.
Mimetism 6. Can we just remember Mimetism 6 is a fucked ability?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
She is a pretty freaking incredible shot to it. BS.
Yeah,
14.
She's
like a
BS.
hacked out, bro. For
She's
40
BS,
points.
whatever. She's BS 14 with a Spitfire. Who gives a fuck? Like, she's fine, but there are much better things going on in this faction, and Nomad. Because like, let's not forget, right? People
We
didn't
get
run.
old and argue about
Let's not
infinite
forget,
profile.
people didn't run her before. People are still not gonna run her.
I don't know. I like her. I'm gonna try and run her.
She's not changed
Yeah.
though. So why would you? Why
were you
has
running
changed?
before?
What has changed around her that makes
I did run her before. She was great.
Okay, Jacob aside, please somebody out
Jacob
there
aside.
in the internet tell me
Let
why
me
you would run
handpick
her.
my argument, god damn it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to. I don't have to defend my opinions. I just want you to be. I just want to be right.
To
yeah.
be fair, I think it was the supporting cast holding her back. If she gets used more, it might be because of the supporting cast. I think she's genuinely okay. Like, she's not straightforward to use, but I think she can get work done.
I can see her I can see her in a Harris now with like a Cenobite and like a specialist or something like that. You know,
yeah.
the thing is, she is a specialist in herself, so that's not too bad. But
I can see almost what I could really see with her is her running with either a healer or Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
And you can walk it forward with some impunity, and if she takes out 1 wound in ARO, you've got either the Doctor Plus or the Burst 3 med kit to put in her, because the NWI is an unconscious state. You go bam, you're now back up to 4 health.
40-point insurance pack. A lot as well.
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
I think Val's right. She hasn't changed, but the changes to the faction means that like you can sort of bubble wrap her, I guess.
A little bit more. I don't know. I think there's more. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll move on. So so we've finished with the stuff that is only in Nomads and Bakunin. And now we're going to go into the stuff that is only in Bakunin. This is really interesting now. So there's a lot of stuff here that's only Bakunin. So we've got the Orphans of the Observance. We've already spoken about them on the previous cast. I don't think they have changed. They're really good. Really decently priced, cheap line troops for the faction that come with a bunch of different interesting kit.
Other than being added to army, there's no change to them. I still say the same thing. Because they're the orphan, they get to go into the observance Harris or fire team. They're great for following a penitent around. You walk into a hacker net either accidentally or on purpose, and you have this engineer here to just go bang. No more negative state for you. Let's keep going.
Yes, they can go into an observance fire team Harris, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the moderator fire team, which you may not see them in there, but as far as an observance fire team goes, I can definitely see them in there, like you say, with a penitent, with Kusanagi or a Cenobite as a cheap sort of cheaper link filler. That's also potentially going to be your specialist. Is really good. Really like it. Good. Let's move on.
The other thing to just quickly point out, they're a decent shot too.
BS12.
BS12 for line troop.
I mean, this is coming from a guy who's playing TAC. That's why he's like, a decent shot. Decent shot.
Hey,
they're not BS7.
No, hold on. Decent shot for a line trooper. Decent shot for a line trooper. Same as the security and like the Fusilier. They're decent shots for a line trooper.
Okay,
you justify them in a 5-man link with some moderators. Especially the MSV2 multi-marksman rifle.
That one I looked at, and it could be like, the OK is sort of like a cheerleader to sort of defend like your back.
Let's keep moving, guys. Let's keep moving. Right, observance.
I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Observance. So this is the S5 heavy infantry that comes in the box.
Again, no changes from what we saw before. It's just that they've been added to army. I love them. I think they're great.
Yeah, they're fine. Oh, and on that point, I don't think we mentioned before that these models are Siocast in the new box set. So good and not so good, depending on your thoughts on Sidecast. But by all accounts, they have fixed the formula, and they look pretty schmickle. Yep. Sorry, Val, did you have anything you want to say on the observance before we moved on?
The observance, yeah. So the observance, these are interesting because they fight pretty hard for space with the fucking dumb cunt.
With the
sorry,
wait, you mean Kusanagi? Like
the tag.
If somebody says one more word, I'll fucking skits. Let me just find them, and then we should just all be quiet while this idiot finds Taskmaster.
What are you talking about?
Compete with Taskmasters.
Right.
Really hard.
Enough.
That's interesting. The Taskmasters are allowed to bring the Morlocks, which is cool. These guys, they fit into the other Link team, and they probably have a better loadout, to be honest. So it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. You could probably take one each. They're 40 points. You could do the Taskmaster Harris, and then these guys in the Harris or a Link. That's kind of cool.
Val, that's a fucking idea. I want to do that.
I mean, you couldn't do that though.
Yeah.
Oh, because you only have one Harris.
Only one Harris option.
They're both Harris.
They're both Harris options.
Yeah, they're both Harrises.
You'd have to go like maybe the Taskmaster in a duo, and then the Observance in a Harris. So no, but I like what you've said there though, because I think that was one of my concerns when this was going to get updated, is how are we going to ask Nomad players to pick up the Observance stuff rather than continue playing the Anarchy stuff? Because currently you've got a core Link of Riot Girls and a Harris of Taskmaster and 2 Morlocks. Mwah, really good, right? How are you going to get people to break that mold? And this is and what you've hit on there is actually a really good point. You can, instead of having the Taskmaster and 2 Morlocks, you can have the Penitent Observant and a couple of
Cenobites or something.
Cenobites or the Orphans, whatever's cheap, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this fucking thing is Mimetism 3 AP Spitfire.
So this is a better gunfighter than the Taskmaster because of that mimetism. What I feel is that your Anarchy side kind of struggles to sort of fit in a lot of specialists, whereas in the Reverend whatever Observance side it's got doctors, hackers, engineers, all over the place.
Interesting. Yeah.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah, you could definitely see.
The AP Spitfire is going to be one of the best weapons in the game.
Yeah, and it's got mimetism -3, and it's armor 5, and you can put an engineer in it as well. Yeah,
you can
right.
bring whatever the fuck you want with it, like Kusanagi, Agatha, a Reverend, or a Cenobite, whatever you want.
Yeah, I still think there's a case for both the Red Fury and EM Grenade +1 burst and the Spitfire. I think they're both great profiles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
I don't know which one I choose. I think honestly, your choice between the AP Spitfire and the Red Fury, I reckon, almost entirely completely depends on your meta.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All right, so now we're going to get into the profile that made Val's head explode: the Reverend Cenobites.
How did you guys on the last podcast think that these guys are okay to average?
Because I just don't put that much stock in Mimetism -6. I think Mimetism -6 can be countered too easily, and it doesn't make them a bad profile.
Tell me what you counter MSV 6 with?
Fucking MSV and template weapons. Done.
Okay, but the thing is, these guys are
and also just a gun, right? Just shoot it with a fucking gun. It's if you're running it in a Harris, it's a BS-11 heavy rocket launcher. Yay! Like, I'm not scared of it at all.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing with these, and we mentioned it last time, is the fact that ignore all of the guns on them except for maybe the light shotgun. The big thing is the fact that they've got flash pulses.
Why is that a big thing?
Light shotgun.
Because then they've got AROs out to what?
Yeah, up to 24. One dice.
But again, flash pulses don't have any Link team bonuses. So it's just burst. Burst one.
You may as well dodge, right? You may as well dodge.
Like it's
Yeah, no,
just fine.
I get what you're saying, and I understand that they fit into this army. They fit into Bakunin because they serve a purpose of making your Moiras and all those other things a little bit cheaper. You've got
Yeah.
this great melee defense.
Yeah, and template
And
defense and melee defense, and they're
Yeah.
gonna bog you down.
That's it.
They're gonna make you waste orders on them, and then they're gonna hit you back. And I don't think they're bad at all. I do not think they're bad. I think they are very good. I just think that, I mean, to be, I will caveat this with one point. When I played Dante last night, he did run 2 bulleteers against me, and it does suck trying to shoot a bulleteer with a with a Magriba on 8s because the motherfucker's in cover and he's got mimetism -6. So sure, I do, like, if you don't have the right tool, it can suck.
Give it this
So,
way,
yeah.
right? Cenobite, with the best gunfighter, BS14 gunfighter, 7 will be hitting it on 8s, assuming you have cover, with 4 or 5 dice. And all you need to do, you still have, and even then, you have, if you dodge, you have a 25% chance to completely cancel his roll unless they crit.
Yeah.
Because if you roll 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on your dodge, they're not hitting you.
Yeah, no, like my point of them is okay, right. If you're running them in if you decide to run them as a core, and maybe you decide to make the heavy rocket launcher an ARO piece to be just a pain in the ass, because it's, you know, pretty cheap and it'll do the job. If it's pure, it makes it a BS14 heavy rocket launcher. That's fine. Like that's okay. It's perfectly serviceable as a bit of an ARO piece. With a mimetism -6, it does make your life difficult. However, I do see these ladies being used mostly in a Harris, and mostly as your kind of like your buffer.
Yeah.
And for me, at that point, mimetism -6 becomes less useful because I'm probably going to be engaging them in template range, and that's when mimetism -6 becomes useless. So
Yeah.
like that's and that's all I'm saying on it. I'm not saying they're bad at all. I think they're really, really good. And if you do stand one out onto corner guard, it does become a very useful corner guard, because it's like you say, a mimetism -6 flash pulse or mimetism -6 heavy rocket launcher is gonna be a pain in the ass. 100%. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
The main thing you've got to consider is the fact that they don't have a very long threat range. For everything other than the heavy rocket launcher, they don't push a threat of killing something of more than 10 inches.
Yeah, but they can win the midfield really nicely, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great for defending your link and your valuable pieces, and then mimetism -6 does mean that what they're good for, and when the opportunity arises, is they can very easily run around the corner into melee and just go, you can shoot me, but it'll be at -6, maybe -3 for my martial arts, and I'm just going to hit you with my really good double action close combat weapon, or my, I'm going to burst to you with my heavy pistol.
Yeah, exactly right.
No,
Yeah,
I do like them. I think they're good. I may have been a bit hard on them. I think playing against bulleteers last night made me go, oh yeah, mimetism -6 can be pretty good, eh? But I just bear in mind as well, they are heavy infantry and they don't have stealth. So if you put them in a link team and you walk past a repeater net or a hidden deploy hacker, then watch out. All right, moving on. We've got initiated observance. Now we've already spoken about these. I did mention the change earlier on. I think when we looked at the profiles when CB released them before they went into Army, the ones with the surprise attack infiltration had 0.5 SWC tax on them, but that's been removed. So these guys are really good.
The other thing I think I remembered, because these guys aren't in vanilla, as I think they're now. They used to be AVA 1, they're AVA 2 now.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is great, which means as far as putting down that hacker net, it's
they're very good.
Where's the mind layer? So what, 42 points? You get a pretty nice sort of hacker net starting off. Plenty of pitches in Bakunin. you can shut down the midfield.
Bakunin
with repeaters
are
very
shaping up
easily.
to be an absolute hacking powerhouse, and
Absolutely.
that is going to be huge. Yeah, being able to put 2 repeaters in the midfield, you've got access to pitchers, like you've got access to excellent hackers. It's going to be tough for an opponent to penetrate your lines if they're running anything that's hackable, or even if it's not hackable, because Spotlight is a thing.
Yeah, Spotlight's great. There you go, Val. Another way of dealing with MSV of mimetism -6. Spotlight.
Yeah.
Spotlight. All right. So I think, is that the end of all the Nomad stuff now?
Yep, that's all of them.
Cool.
Brilliant.
All right.
Go into the things that are really making people excited.
Yeah. Right.
Nova plus infiltration. Woo!
So we have also had some updates to O12 and more importantly Starmada. Do we want to jump straight away to the juicy thing?
Juicy.
Well, let's maybe just skip quickly over the really boring
Okay.
ones.
Yep. So Casanova got an update. He now has an infiltration +3 profile.
Well, I refuse to talk about Casanova until I face him on the table. So that's me done.
Well, this is obviously CB's attempt at trying to make people take him. Now, on the one hand, this is great. He now actually has infiltration and the option to go forward, but he's only Fizz 11, so risky.
Yeah.
The other thing that's happened though is that infiltration +3 profile lost the mine layer. Now, I don't know what CB were thinking. If they really wanted somebody to just go all in on taking that profile, they should have kept the mine layer, because that would it would tip me to taking him. Like if that had the mine layer profile, I'd roll that dice. I'd roll that 11 to be able to put an EM mine on my opponent's doorstep. That would be just
Fair enough.
But
After this podcast, I'm going to make a petition to make a ban that we never talk about either Casanova or Octavia until one of us has used it. Until then, they're banned from this podcast.
Well, Jordan, who listens to the show, he plays Casanova and he's had some success with it, and I think he'd be equally as annoyed that this infiltration +3 profile does not have a mine layer. Yeah, I mean that's all I really want to say on that. It's good.
Jordan a Patreon?
Yes, I think so.
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
think so.
All right, fine.
Yeah, so that has been added, and then the other thing that's been added to O12, albeit somewhat under duress. Like, I don't know. Like,
geez.
CB.
Congratulations, Triumph. You've done it. You've made a change. Nah, I actually don't know if it's Triumph. I really shouldn't call him out like that. I actually don't know who. I suspect there was a big group of people.
I mean,
Yeah.
like we as a podcast complained about nerfing the Avatar and it happened, so clearly someone's just taken up that and gone, well, if I complain that they didn't add Robot to O12 after they said they would, then yeah. I mean, like on the one hand, I totally get it. Like the Bostria did come out and say that it would be an O12. I think even in the marketing, it said it would be added to O12. The fact that it then wasn't added to O12 after people had bought at least 2 each, is understandably annoying. Although props to Rob Cantrell, who rather than complaining about it, just switched to playing Starmada. So well done, Rob. Like taking the high road on that one. So good.
Oh, please, Rob. Yeah, okay, fine.
All right. So we've already spoken
Get
about these
past
guys.
the angst.
Yeah. So we've already spoken about these guys in the
Let's
previous.
get to the stuff that's making people go nuts.
No. We haven't.
Oh, not yet.
So we're still on O12 at the moment, right?
Okay.
So this
Why?
robot has been added to O12, but it's also been added to Starmada. Now, did we discuss this profile in the last episode? I think we did, right? Oh no, we didn't. We discussed it maybe before it was.
I think we discussed it ages ago.
Ages ago, because we
profile
were.
was dropped.
Yeah.
That's right, because we weren't sure if the profile was correct. Turns out it was correct, and this is a climbing plus motorcycle, which is not actually a motorcycle. It just transforms into something that resembles a motorcycle, much like the Sujan transforms into something that resembles a cat. Yeah, this profile is wow, like holy dooly. It's a good profile. So many options, so many good things. I can see why people bought 2 of them. And I definitely will be running at least 1 in my Starmada lists from now on. Yeah, because speaking of Starmada, this thing can duo. Actually, something I want to mention on this profile specifically for Starmada is, I'll just open up my army so I'm getting the right information. Under the fire team charts, when the robot got added, or sorry, before the robot got added, there was a thing called the Lawkeeper fire team, which was a Lawkeeper and up to 2 Lawkeepers and up to 1 Oko could make a duo. They've added the Road fire team, which is up to 2 Lawkeepers or up to 2 robots and an Oko, but still just a duo. What confuses me is why keep the Lawkeeper fire team then? Just have the Road fire team because it does exactly the same job. Like, it's just bloat. There's just an extra fire team option here that literally doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, I suppose maybe it's hard to get rid of fire teams, easy to add them. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe rather than change, I don't know. Probably not that hard because they can just change it. But yeah, this thing is great. There's been lots of people discussing it online, how they can make it fit into a Starmada list. Often it's one of these profiles mixed with one of these profiles, specifically the marksman rifle, light shotgun +1 burst, duoed with the Oko, because the Oko gives you the specialist operative. It also gives you a repeater that allows you then to evo marksmanship the marksman rifle to make it, BS12 ignoring cover with mimetism.
Shit, yeah, you can.
Pretty freaking awesome.
And right now on the ITS, it gives you the TAC
and attack aware order as well. I've been looking at the paramedic Panzerfaust option with the drop bears, because I've been looking at running something like a Zeta as the point man in a coordinated order, sort of taking a leaf out of Val's book by taking the Zeta and then 2 of these paramedic robots to basically, burst 3 with the Zeta and then burst 1 with 2 Panzerfausts on something that I definitely want to get rid of. So congratulations, Val. I'm taking your advice. So yeah, something like that would be really interesting. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm looking at it. I haven't looked at it until now. There's a lot of words. I'll make a judgment when somebody uses it against me again. But it does genuinely look legitimate. Wow. Mim 3, no wound, total terrain. Yeah, no, it looks good. Yeah, it looks very.
I think I'm gonna agree with you. Wait, does it get? Oh, no, that makes.
What? We've got silence here, guys.
It's a whole. So it's a whole. It's the size of a normal Ren, and it gets slightly taller in its combat form. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's.
I think you're right with the sort of like submachine gun version of it. It's an okay sort of gunfighter.
Yeah, like the submachine gun one was just a way to get a coordinated order Panzerfaust in there. Like the gunfighter is obviously the marksman rifle or the Red Fury. Obviously the marksman rifle with the burst 3 light shotgun makes it an absolute terror if it gets into your backline.
And there's no real until you get out of the marksman range, there's no bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is like good midfield terror piece where you're taking out your Strelok or whatever else.
And the fact that it's a paramedic in missions like supplies and cryogenics, this thing is just gonna. It's only whip 12, but if it's getting the bonus of a +3 and 2 dice, whip 15, and it's 8/6 move in high mobility form, it's so good. It's such a good piece. Very excited to run one in upcoming games when I can get my models together and actually paint them.
Yeah, I think it's one of those editions that you'll see, but it isn't exactly a terror.
Oh, well, we'll see. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I haven't faced it yet, but I mean, I'm not looking forward to this weekend because I imagine that Rob Cantrell will be running at least one of these in his lists, and
Heaven, Rob
We'll
Kentro's gonna be
find
at the
out.
top tables. You don't have to worry about him. Yeah, take that, motherfucker.
Yeah, fair
All right,
enough.
so this is the one that has really been making people lose their minds, isn't it? The Sarko.
Why is it making
Yeah.
people lose their minds?
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, for a couple of reasons. One of them being that they're not an O12. Haha, fuck you O12, suck shit.
Fuck you, suck dick.
Starmada are only getting these ones, which as a
fair.
Starmada player, I will say. I mean, I've played 2 games with them, but I don't, it's good.
That's fine.
I'm really happy that we now have a camouflage infiltration profile. For the sectoral. So that's really good. But of course, like you said, Jacob, the reason why most people are losing their shit over it is it gives you wild parrots.
So for the uninitiated, the
Yeah,
wild
that
parrots
is
are
what-
like a fast panda EM grenade mine sort of thing.
Yeah, it's wild parrots and probably one of the most exotic pieces of tech in this game. I think there's 3 models that get it: Locust, Bravo, and Sarko. Off the top of my head, I don't think I know anyone else who gets it.
Yeah,
And it is,
I mean, I know it for, at least it's a pano only thing, and like the wild parrot can go off on anything, can't it?
Yes.
yeah, it just isolates
Yeah,
them if
so
they're not heavy.
It's like a better cyber mine.
Well, it's just
yeah.
well, what? It's just an EM mine. That's what it is. It's an EM mine that goes off, but it deploys like a fast panda. For those of you who, because this is a new profile, we haven't spoken about this one before, just want to quickly go over its profile for those who are listening along in Radioland. It is a skirmisher, 4/4 move, CC 18, BS 11, Fizz 12, Whip 13, Arm 1, BTS 3, with 1 wound, and it's AVA 2 in Starmada. It has surprise attack, camouflage, infiltration, mimetism -3, stealth, terrain total, and climbing plus, which is a bit of a staple of the faction. Everything seems to have climbing plus. The specific profile we're talking about that we think is really excellent is the forward observer SMG flash pulse D charges, because it has the wild parrot. So it kind of does a lot. Yep.
I was just saying, for those of you that might be driving and don't have the ability to focus on reading out all the stats, you just pull out your phone and it's spelled SARKO, and you can just look at it in the O12 Starmada profiles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's your standard sort of skirmisher profile, like midfield, camouflage, infiltrator. But what makes it super interesting and good for Starmada specifically is the fact it's the only one that we get, and like it's a specialist, but it's also got this wild parrot. They are only disposable 1, so you're only gonna get 1 shot to do it.
You get 1 shot at.
But the ability to move with this thing, have it be discovered, and then move through a parrot, and then use the Zeta the next order to shoot whatever that parrot's looking at, like an arrow piece. And because it's an EM mine, it's literally any arrow piece that's not a veteran is gonna go fuck.
The other thing is, this thing starts in midfield and then throws it. That parrot can be deployed 8 inches away from wherever the fuck you end up, so across the building.
Yeah,
it's so gross. It's so
yeah. Like the fact that like even if you are not hackable, even if you are, let's just use the Kamau MSV2 as the gold standard arrow piece.
Sure.
If you do walk your Zeta out in front of it, you're burst 5 on 11s because it's got mimetism, and it's coming back at you with burst 2 on whatever it is these days, because you're probably not pure link, but 14. It's probably like 14s, right? That's not amazing odds on the Zeta. It's decent, but it's not amazing odds.
Yep.
If you then add a wild parrot into the mix, even if you lose the face to face, that it's very likely that Kamau is now isolated and has now left the link and is now out of the fire team, and now you can take it on with very little hazard. So it's just and it'll just work on anything. It'll work on
Well, think
anything.
about like last night's game where he had the harass of dudes behind that building, the one that you end up nuking with a grenade. How
Mhm.
much easier would it have just been planting a parrot than provoking an ARO and then templating all three of that harass?
Yeah, you're right, and they still be alive. It doesn't kill them, but it does then
but they'd be
become.
fucked.
Then that now they're isolated. They can't like if they were hackable, they're now immobilized. Like it's
Resetting on -12s. It's just
it's horrible. So yeah, and the other profiles are fine. There's a mine layer profile with a boarding shotgun, which is good.
Yep.
It's annoying that it's not a hacker. Sorry, it's annoying that it's not a specialist, but there is a boarding shotgun killer hacker profile, which I think can definitely see some play in my games, just because it gives you a midfield hacker with a template weapon and shock mines and
BS11 though, they
decharges.
fucking suck. BS11 suck.
BS11
it is
whatever, yeah.
It is always nice to see when you look at a profile and the one that is the cheapest is also the one that you sort of consider
Yeah,
as the best.
right. It's true. That's true.
I'll be honest. Looking at all of those ones, unless you really want that midfield hacker, I would probably say that people will look at any Star Miner list. They'll automatically
Go for the
put
submachine gun.
2 Psychos, submachine gun, wild parrots,
Yeah.
and then build the rest of the list around them.
That's something that I would say is a criticism of this profile. I do believe that
it's too good compared to the rest.
Exactly. I think what CB maybe could have done, is made either one of the forward observers profiles or the killer hacker profile. Make that the one with the SMG. That gives players the option. So, like, if you were to take the killer hacker, make that the SMG flash pulse, and give the wild parrot one with the boarding shotgun. That would have probably lifted that up to 20. That would have lifted that one up to 23 or 24 points, and then the killer hacker would have gone down to 22 points, maybe. And that would have made it. That would have just made it more of an option for players. Like right now, there is only one option most of the time.
Disagree.
Do you? Why do you
I don't think the wild parrot's going to be... Look, the wild parrot's exotic piece of tech, but it's not game breaking that it's going to win over. I think the other profiles are also viable. The mine layer one probably least so for me, but I think the other two... Because the thing is, if you actually want to use this model other than the wild parrot, you don't want to pay 20 points for just the wild parrot, right?
Well, you're not. You're paying 20 points for a specialist. It's midfield.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I know. I'm being a little bit facetious, but I guess if you want to shoot with this thing, you need a boarding shotgun or a template weapon.
Well, then you're not really.
You're right. There's
I would say if you want to, I was going to say if you want to shoot with it, you need burst 3. If you want to just drop a template, there's probably better options.
Yeah, I do believe that they just given the SMG to like the killer hacker or the forward observer, and then broken out like that and made that points a bit more closer together. Because then they'd all be about 23 points. That might be a better option than just having like here's one that's 20.
Yeah.
Would you still take it if it lost forward? Would you still take it if it lost forward observer?
Actually, that might break it. That might be even better if it was the only one that wasn't a specialist. That would also be another point of difference that would force a player.
Well, the mine layer is not a specialist as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's fair enough.
That one's garbage. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then lastly, in the O12 camp, we have the secure droids. Now, they were a surprise. These are what the fuck are these profiles? So just for those listening along at home, I'll go slower this time. So they're remotes, so they're heavy, so they're hackable. They are Move 6-2, CC-17, BS-11, Fizz-10, Whip-13, ARM-2, BTS-6, the 2 structure, and their S2 and AVA-2.
That's great.
They have 360 visors, remote presence, courage, immunity shock, mimetism -3, and climbing plus. And then their loadouts are all non-lethal. We've got an adhesive launcher, flash pulse +1 burst with heavy. They've got heavy pistol, so they're not completely useless. Heavy pistol with a para CC weapon -9, and the other one is the same profile, except instead of an adhesive launcher, it's got an acrylite cannon. Yeah, cool. They're interesting.
What's the difference between acrylite cannon and?
I think it's range bands.
It's range bands and disposable. So the adhesive launcher is
Let me take
Yeah.
a look. So there you go. Wow, that
Um,
came up straight away.
Yeah,
So
it's one's got
yeah, so
HMG
there you
range
go.
bands. And
This is
distro
like a
small.
really unique ARO piece for me.
Right. Okay. What would you say isn't why isn't ARO piece?
2 wounds, mimetism 3, flash pulse +1 burst, 360 visor, 20 points, repairable. Seems good.
Yeah.
This
Good for
this
ARO, I mean.
this
Well,
this
again,
profile.
remember the ARO is only flash pulse. It's only burst 1.
Yeah, what am I
This
thinking?
this profile is
Yeah, I
an
don't know.
like this unit is an argument for bringing back hunting party. These things would kick ass at hunting party.
Yeah, true.
Mm.
What so far what I've
Um,
seen is because they're 20 points and their fire team options are go into they go into
Oh,
the
they have a fire
security.
team.
Yes, they go into security fire teams, which you wouldn't take them in there. I don't think they do go into a beta trooper fire team, and they count as beta troopers. So this is your way to cheapen
Oh
a beta trooper
dear.
fire team. However, they are only AVA 1 in a fire team, so you're only cheapening it by 13
By 1.
points. Or no, even not
Yeah,
even that. The cheapest beta trooper is
13. You're right. Yeah.
yeah, it's
13.
13 points. So it's fine. It's fine. The other way you could do it as well is you can also put it into a bronze fire team, which actually has some play, I think, because you can have a bronze with a secure droid, and then like you can then cheapen it out with like a Psycop or Shona or Tian Gao, for example. So there's a couple options there. I think it's mainly to keep the beta trooper fire team cheaper, so that maybe you might think about running a core.
Yeah. Or even the bronze, because I don't see like I think I always look at the bronze as being a bit.
Yeah, and actually the bronze, I forgot about this. The bronze did get an upgrade. They now have an HMG profile, whereas they never had that before. So I can see you now running the HMG with a secure droid, and then maybe, like
Something.
wild
Gao
card,
would be a good one.
the Chen Gao or the Psychops or something like that. Maybe the Psychop hacker. For example, you could also run Parvati. She's an engineer doctor, so you can repair them like that. I do like the fact that it is for 20 points for a 2 wound armor 2 mimetism -3 model.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's
It's
not
like a good point guard.
Yeah,
for
it does.
Harris.
It does have that defensive capability. It's 6'2" with climbing plus as well, so it's moving. Because the other thing about it is it's moving at the same pace as a beta trooper. It's got climbing plus like a beta trooper, so it's keeping up with the rest of the fire team, which is nice. It's just they're just an odd addition.
Admittedly, if I mean it's a bit weird, but if like early in your turn or whatever, with the 2 wounds, I can see like popping them out in like a Harris or something and burst 3 flash pulsing something to like stop it from firing back.
I mean,
Like I
so.
don't know exactly. I don't know exactly the situation. Like I can't think of a hypothetical.
I mean,
Yeah.
you won't get
would
burst
want
3
to
though.
do that.
And
You
you
won't
get burst 3.
You
That's the problem.
you don't get any burst bonus from flash pulse.
Sorry. Right. Sorry. Burst to it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's they're the last thing I'll say on them for me is during the Adepticon video, Austria did mention that these guys will play a significant part in the next part of the Infinity story. So because they're called surveillance and security droids, then it makes me think that there might be some kind of I don't know, like combined army get into the O12 headquarters, or they get on board the ships. Maybe there's like maybe there's like
or other way around.
maybe
This.
I was gonna say maybe Infinity will take an idea from 40k and create boarding action. Like, everything will become boarding action.
Yeah,
Or I was going to say the story the other way around is that O12 have taken like the offensive and they've put these, because they've talked about the Navy and stuff. They've put these on CA ships.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're interesting. I'm not sure where I'll put them, but I guess if you want to cheapen a link team by 13 points, then go for it. Yeah.
The other thing
let's do the
I
last
was
profile and
saying,
get to bed. I'm fading.
I-
I'm so
the
Okay.
done.
other thing I was saying is it's a good not as risky what's it called
I will
symbiote
fucking
mate.
kill you.
Sim-
Finish the
sim-
sentence.
Yeah, no,
symbiote
just
mate
finish your
racer.
sentence.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go
Do I
on.
have to say it again?
Yes,
There
you
you
do.
go. Sorry, I did interrupt you, so it's on me. So go on. Say
It's
on me.
good for
Sorry.
getting rid of symbiote mates.
Yeah, well, you start to win the
Because as
face
soon
to
as you have
face.
to make a
though.
roll, the symbiote mate gone.
Yeah, you start to win the face to face, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, but anything's good for getting rid of symbiote mates. Like anything.
If you win
is.
the face to
Like
face, yeah. But yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't matter if
Um,
you. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, you got one. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
win the face to face.
All right, okay,
Look,
so
I think, yeah. I don't know, but they definitely cheapen the link. But yeah, who knows?
yeah,
We'll find
we'll
out.
move into the last couple of profiles here. So we've got an update to Hack Islam, and Assassins. We were talking about her earlier, the new IR model. So with the new IR model, also they've added a new profile for some fucking unknown reason, because we weren't taking them anyway. And just like what we talked about, kind of with the Cinears, rather than actually make the profile good, they've just added a profile to try to tempt us to take it. But unlike with the Cinear, where you will take it, maybe this one, which is the new one down here, which is the rifle +1 burst, +1 burst emitter Panzerfaust.
Why don't you read out the stats as well for people who have not looked at the IR for a while?
It's an IR.
It's an IR. Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I got the joke. I liked it. It was funny. It made me laugh. So they've added a new hidden deployment option, and it's funny enough, it's only a hidden deployment option, not the forward deployment option. So rifle +1 burst is whatever. Burst 4 is fine.
Yeah, not bad.
But an emitter and a Panzerfaust, whereas before you already had a breaker rifle zapper Panzerfaust. So what is the functional difference between a breaker rifle zapper Panzerfaust and a rifle +1 burst emitter Panzerfaust? I'm gonna say not enough to really warrant the point of this fucking profile.
What's a bigger template? Are they the same templates as zappers and the emitters?
Emitters don't have templates. Emitters are a burst one rifle that does EM damage, and the zapper is just the small template EM damage weapon. So yeah, it's just why, like, just CB make IR 6-2 move. That's all we want. Just make them 6-2 move. That's
Next
it.
month
Done.
Next month, redesign the IR. That's the challenge. Next month, redesign the IR.
The only reason I can see the advantage is the fact that the extra burst takes more advantage of the surprise attack next 6.
Yeah,
because you get an extra burst.
Sure, but you got to wait for somebody to walk into 16 inches and then use it on that turn. You use it. Oh, sorry, walk inside 20 inches, because then you can move 4 and shoot them. Yeah, it's fine. It's not fine. It's worse than fine. It's just terrible. Don't use it. Bad.
Move on.
Moving on.
I'm not even. No, we're not. Don't care about the orc.
No, we are. We are going to care about the orc. So they also modified the SWC and the orc multi rifle Timbot Firewall 3. If you want to bring that up there.
So many profiles.
Oh fucking kill someone. 11 o'clock. It's 3.5 hours. Gives a shit. They lost 0.5, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're just zero SWC. Cool. And then we
have to go to the biggest one. We have to go to the biggest one.
This is the biggest change of the entire.
Where is it?
Change.
Is it
no one's gonna listen to it.
No. It's Bulletier.
Yeah. Okay, so the Bulletier, now just for my memory, I think the heavy shotgun used to be 19 points. 17 points. Holy shit. And the Spitfire used to be what, 21?
23.
23 now, yeah, apologies, yeah.
Right. So they went up what, 3 points?
Yep. 3-point increase of the Bulletier Spitfire.
And I think I heard the best take, I think again from your mate Val, Rob, that this is really just a nerf to Druze.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'll pay that. That's very funny.
So poor Druze now have to pay 3 more points for their Bulletier. Yeah, I mean,
It's
people will
true.
still take them. I mean, I faced against 2 last night, and it didn't seem to affect
Good.
Dante's performance. So good on
Pretty
him.
good.
Yeah,
no, they're still very
Just
good.
take
so.
the fucking Tech B or whatever out of your list.
I think we were using this as a point of discussion that this proves that mimetism -6 is more expensive than MSV2 because the Rushi Spitfire is 23 points.
Exactly. Yeah, nah, Mimetism 6 is the strongest skill in the game.
And is actually I didn't realize that bulleteers are arm 1. Have they always been arm 1?
I think so, yeah.
I don't actually know.
I assumed that they're arm 0.
They've always been. No, I think the bigger ones have always had a little bit more.
Check your N3 out.
I can take a
Yeah,
look.
I'm probably just thinking of the Rushi and the Lu Duan that are arm 0.
because they're super offensive. I think Bulleteers are a little bit more defensive. I don't know. But
yeah, they're arm 1 and N3.
There you go. Perfect. That settles it.
Okay, right. So I think that was I think that's all our changes. So
do you guys want to just take a turn just reading the stats for our favorite profile, just one each? Like to end the night,
No.
Yeah, I'll read Mutawai's. Here, guys. Gazi Mutawai's move 4-4, close combat 14. PS. I'm just absolutely
right.
Fucking Val gets cranky when he's tired.
I know, right? That's why I'm always on Val patrol.
He's
doing an
always on
episode. I'm just like making sure he's still awake, making sure he doesn't start snoring halfway through the episode.
Yeah, gotta get him his bottle, guys.
Folks, thanks for tuning in, listening to another episode. Let us know in the comments. Let us know feedback on Discord, what you think about our takes on the update to Army. Let us know what you think about the new challenges for the next month and next quarter. And also, please check out the entries from this most recent quarter and monthly, and let us know your thoughts on what their ideas were for the classifieds, and if you've had any, if you've used any of their tips on your own demo games.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, have a look
at our YouTube channel where you can watch the recordings of the actual of the episodes.
Yes, right. Yes. Reminder again, we do have a YouTube channel. A YouTube channel where we upload all of our episodes, as well as Jacob's most recent Marut and IR inspection, which is really great. So with that, you've been listening to another episode of Loss of Lieutenant. My name's Kevin.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Val.
Good night.
Good night.
We stop recording.